Ready to go. We are calling the Townsend Finance Committee meeting to order at 6 p.m. Everybody's in the building, but we'll keep the tradition of roll call attendance.
Gerald Zekas,
Carol Hofstas,
Sam Grant.
Don Hayes. That is 4 members. We have a quorum, so we are good to continue. This meeting is being recorded. It will be played back on Channel 9 and available on his YouTube channel. And just,
Townsend has a YouTube channel.
we do.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
When I go to YouTube, I go
just to
somewhere else.
double check
Anywhere
to
else.
see if anybody else is recording the meeting. And we'll see one additional person on the phone muted and no volume LS.
who is that?
Um,
On the phone.
Struthers. And others?
was that Lisa Struthers?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, we'll see you on Friday. Yeah. Okay, so nobody's recording at this point. Item 4 on the preliminaries, additions or deletions. I'm going to delete item 2 in the work session. I did not, the minutes have been generated, and I haven't sent them out for review yet. So we'll move that to a future meeting.
What are you moving?
The minutes.
Reviewing the minutes, item 2.
Okay.
We're just going to move that to a future meeting. Then we'll start with the main purpose of today's meeting is to review the warrant articles and make recommendations as we normally do. I will call up the warrant. Hi, Dave. Sorry, we had started. We have just done the preliminaries. We were just getting ready to review the warrant. Okay.
Grab one of these.
Yeah.
Don't fall off.
So the Article 1 is the zoning bylaw article that did not complete in the last.
That's the same one from number 19 last
Correct.
Yes.
town meeting. Okay.
The one
And that's one that we don't make a recommendation on. Is that
correct. Yep. So I
No,
just want
I
to make
think
sure
you-
that we,
Yep.
we are all good with that.
How does one find the chapter 145 of the town code, article 10?
Go to the planning board website
Okay,
and then there's a link for bylaws
okay.
and you can then, I think there's a search that you can search 145.
I want to know why you want to remove 2 and put it as 1 and all that, because it says nothing to an
Yeah, well,
uninitiated.
and I'm on the planning board
Yeah,
and I think, I don't know,
There's a lot.
I think I just want to leave it the way it is, but
if I had anything to say about the last one, as soon as he said something about you have to hire an outside consultant to do something, whatever he was talking about. I'm sorry, but he did go on and on and on.
I know Robert can, he gets passionate about this stuff and he
He
can,
called my wife and asked me to join, and she politely said thanks for nothing.
but anyways, it'll probably, that's why she put it on first.
It could be.
Because-
I wanna know.
Oh, I know why, because she's still Laurie's still the chair of the planning board.
Right.
And
yeah.
she said it got cut off, so she wanted to start with first.
So we don't have to take any action on
We
this.
don't have to take any action, but just because there were questions. In addition to the planning board, you can also get through the selectmen page on the website. Again, over on the left side would be bylaws. We can visit it out at the end of the meeting if you want. Yeah.
I can wait till reading these out and then send you an email if it's really important. You know, to possibly meet before the meeting to get an intelligent point of view, because I'm not sure my eyes are gonna come up with one.
Okay, Article 2. To see if the town will convert the office of town clerk from an elected position to a position appointed by the select board.
Are we allowed to get a professional point of view on this?
How do
Well, do we make a recommendation because it's not financial?
It's not financial, and that's the thing. I think if we're gonna speak to it, it would be, as.
As a
As
citizen.
a citizen, at that,
Should we give our opinions right here at the table?
we can have a conversation.
Okay.
It's kind of like,
Okay.
never try to suppress conversations.
Correct. Well, do you want me to start or?
If
let
you
somebody
want,
else start?
if you want to start,
Go for it.
please.
Okay, well, to me, this is just one more time that they're trying to take your vote away from you, just like they did last spring. I don't think it's a good idea. The people have the right to vote.
And it's one of the most important positions. I mean, next to the guy that sits in that other room, that this town has, as far as keeping, you know, all the right place, information in the right place.
Right,
And Kathy will tell you, just the other day, I wanted to know what the article was.
right.
Okay, and I
So that's
came
my
in and
personal
they printed
feeling
one
on
right
it,
for me
yeah.
right there, so I knew exactly where to go to get the information I needed.
Right.
Right. So, as a board, we won't be going there,
Okay,
making
thank
a
you.
recommendation, but, anybody else?
No.
care to-
That's my answer, I just wanted to be pushed off the fence one way or the other.
It's kind of.
So on our board, other board of, our board, at the, at town meeting, do we make a recommendation?
We don't normally make a recommendation on articles that aren't financially,
Well, it is financially, it has to do
but
with
it,
how this person is gonna be paid, what, this person, you know, they might change a lot of other things on it,
well, they,
especially if they
We
go
don't
to
have to give
appointed.
names, but I think,
Mhm.
I truly feel as though we should take a vote, whether it's 3-2, 1-5, whatever it is. But I
Yeah,
think-
I say I'm on the fence.
Mhm.
Part of me
Oh,
was definitely wanted election, and then I talked to Laurie after one of our other meetings,
Mhm.
and she kind of swayed me to going to the appointed. I mean, an election, it could be a popularity contest.
Mhm.
Who's more popular versus if you're appointed, there has to be some looking at your experience and education and background instead of just we're elected. You really don't know what the person's experience is and what they bring to the table. So I'm on the fence. I see one way, I see the other way. So I'm not, and you know, my daughter's running.
They can also be
It-
unappointed for political reasons too,
Well, yes, there's
and
that.
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I know.
I know of some people that have
Yeah,
been,
no, I
some person,
get that.
a
That's-
person who has been unelected or
Okay.
unappointed from a, you know,
Okay.
a position in this town,
Yeah.
who, you know, who was doing
I-
a decent job, not a good job, but a decent job.
Well, and that's why I said I'm on the fence.
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
because you're right, there's that. Because that's why, that I'm like the elected, it's there.
Either one is a personality concept. Either one, whether it's appointed as a real good friend of selectmen,
Yeah,
or it's
I know.
real good, look really good in front of the public for voting.
so,
But normally
what-
speaking, the public has a tendency for a job like this to find out if they're gonna vote at all, who's got the experience in this position in this
So-
town.
so anyways, I'm on the fence, so I don't want to vote either way.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
Sure.
About your fence? If there were 5 board of selectmen, would that change your mind instead of just 2? I mean, would it sway you to the appointment fence?
Versus the elected fence, if there was.
No, versus, well, yeah, versus the elected fence, yes.
If there was 5
If there were
selectmen.
5 selectmen.
Yeah, I'd have to know who the selectmen were.
I don't know who they are right now.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm on the fence, because exactly what what Sam just said, so. That's why I'm on the fence, because I know what you said is true. So, yeah, that's why I'm still, I probably won't even vote either way, because I
You
just
can-
don't know.
I can always
You
abstain.
can abstain.
Abstain,
Yeah.
yes, because like I said,
Yeah,
I don't know which, so I would go, I'd be, either way, I would not
mhm.
be unhappy. But, however the vote came out, I'd be fine either way, so I don't have so I'm like,
Well, I promise you, in this town, if somebody gets that job besides our fine young lady behind you, and they mess it up a little, it'll be all over town.
oh, yeah, please, I know that. It's right on,
every-
everything's on
If only,
Facebook.
I don't know what the voting rate is around here per population, but even if it's 10%, those 10% are gonna know, and they'll be back the next
Oh,
time.
yeah, it's all over Facebook, believe me.
I just think it's taking a vote, taking your privilege.
Mhm.
Yes. It's
This
taking
is
a
not only
piece
that,
of,
but it's also historical. It's the way we've been doing things. And there's too many things in the last 75 years in my lifetime that have changed to the worse. And I don't think this should be one of them.
okay, so this is the
Well, then
first,
take a vote.
it's kind of, we will, it's kind of like,
You have
we
anything to
can-
say, Dave?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
my little piece is that it is in the town charter that the town clerk position is an elected position right now. So we're talking about changing the town charter through this. So it's not a short process.
And that's the charter that just got approved.
It was just, it was just updated.
Just
Well,
updated.
We did, the updates were posted and updated to it. But if it's gonna change, it has a whole sequence to go through.
Okay,
That's gonna cost money, right?
Yeah,
well, yeah, it
I
costs
was
some
gonna say,
money.
there's gonna be the town lawyer will need to review it. It will have to be submitted. The attorney general gets submitted and then it's voted
See,
on.
I guess that would sway me to keep it
To accept
elected.
Well,
I
and it's not just that, and again, it's kind of like, one of the things that I think has been missing in the last couple of elections is we don't have that ability of having a candidates night. I haven't seen a candidates night, at least last year, where you could ask those questions, what are your qualifications? And to take this position, so we have had that in town, we've had qualified people for the position, usually people that have been working in the office and understand the office, what's required and moving forward. And this is the first time we're changing from that, and we have a hard time, we had a hard time with it in the budget. How do you adjust a pay rate for somebody, whether they're new stepping in and have the same qualifications as the candidate that's in there doing the job today, or it's it's somebody that doesn't have full, full knowledge and understanding of the job, so. But it still goes back to that, it's the voice of the people who gets elected. And it's the town resident at that point, you're not taking somebody from out of town into the position. Okay, any
No, I'm
further?
satisfied.
Okay, now, I had started the recommendation sheet, so I had verified not reviewed, but it's kind of like we are reviewing it and making recommendations, so. From the finance committee, if we support this, a yes vote will be supporting it, that we support the change to an elected position. If we're opposed to it, then respond in the negative, and we will record our vote.
So we're gonna respond in the negative because we want to keep it elected.
Right.
That if you want to keep it elected,
Leave it as it is, it's a no vote.
it's a no vote.
Do not
Okay.
make a
Yes vote.
change.
Okay,
It's a yes vote to support it as it's written. and
Okay.
change it to-
yeah, this is one of those that,
You know, that's,
Yeah.
I think, something that we have to clear up on the sheet. Are we making a sheet?
he's got it right there. See it?
So that will be given to the people?
This is the sheet we have started. We changed the layout a little bit last time, but yes, this is our finance committee
Yeah, so you
recommendation.
write no vote means,
No change.
So if we're,
no vote means,
a no vote means we're not supporting this article
To
Okay.
convert it.
to convert it.
Okay.
But we're not voting on this article, are we?
We are.
Well,
think we should.
the finance committee said
Oh, they want, okay,
they would like to, so.
okay,
I mean,
I will
it
make a
does
note
hit
of
the
That's fine.
pocket, the bottom line, it
Yeah.
does hit the pocketbook.
yeah, okay, no, that's fine, I don't have a problem with having a vote.
I like pocketbooks. Like having something in them,
No means no change.
right?
A no means no change, so it's kind of like, I guess, a motion to, I would entertain the motion to, vote.
To vote on Article
On
2.
Article 2, yeah, whether we,
I will make a motion to vote on Article 2.
I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? And I realize
No,
sequence-wise, if you look at other boards, they will have a motion and a second before they discuss. We generally go discussion before, and then if there's any additional discussion. Okay, nothing additional requested, then a vote.
I vote no.
I vote no.
I vote no.
And I'll vote no.
I'll abstain.
Okay. I will vote no.
The abstention carried.
Two. Okay, so I've recorded it, it just, here, I'll update it later. The vote was 0-4-5 against and 1 abstain. Okay. Moving to Article 3. To see if the town will vote to raise, appropriate, borrow, or transfer from available funds in the treasury the sum of $80,790. Or any other sum for the purpose of funding the as detailed below.
So were your concerns satisfied or not?
No.
Okay, I just,
And I'll tell you why, because when I went back home, I did a search for Massachusetts to see if they have in fact put into place new requirements for fire engines for 25 and 26, 27, and they don't. We have one requirement, and that's for a backup mirror, but it's not in the $80,000 range. They do have a compliance issue coming up for diesel engines, like we were told, but that's not coming on until 2027. So I didn't see anything from 2022 when the actual contract was signed until 2025 when we're supposed to get delivery. That satisfied his reason for just signing off the 80,000. And I'm really not satisfied with the tariff issue because I don't understand why they don't know how much, what parts they're going to be putting into this fire truck that will come from Canada that will be subject to tariffs.
This discussion on this particular article predates even, whose mention of tariffing everybody.
Correct.
So therefore,
correct.
the $80,000 and change predates the knowledge that it's going to happen. Except unless you went back to happen to listen to any of the thing it said during the campaign season.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the only thing you might go by, but no. And that's still, you have a contract, you have a contract.
well, that's what I say, but that's apparently not what
There was an
people think.
escalation clause in there though.
No, there wasn't. There's no escalation clause.
I haven't read the detail myself, but
He read
at
it.
the meeting on.
Well,
at
he
the
read
meeting
it
on
and
Saturday,
he read something.
He read
on
paragraph
section,
9.
paragraph 9.
Nine.
Yeah.
Now, paragraph 9 says, for compliance issues, taxes and tariffs, the increase would go on. That's not for materials, which is what the amendment says. My issue is, I don't think we have enough information.
Yeah.
But I do think that we need a fire truck. I want to go on record as saying that I'm not opposed to buying a fire truck. Or possibly 2. But I do think that given the misinformation that we seem to have gotten,
Well, and the other thing is, if these contracts are being reviewed by our legal counsel, why did he weigh in on?
that's an excellent point. I mean,
Because this should have, I asked Veronica and she said, yes, legal counsel reviews everything except things like pest, hiring a pest control person, which, okay, that's fine. I get that. But if he's looking at these contracts as our attorney, he should be picking up that kind of stuff.
I agree, and I think he should have the authority to put in writing questions and to mention that it's a possible breach, or it's a bait and switch, because we apparently went into this contract in 2022, and at the same time that we were going into this contract, Wolfboro, New Hampshire was receiving the identical letter that we received, saying, oh, whoops, we made a mistake, we have to increase your $80,000, the same number, which is incredible. So, and the other thing I would want to say to.
You did a lot of good research on all of this,
thank you,
which I
Karen.
really appreciate. And I agree with you on all these matters, but I think at this point, we need the 2 fire trucks, and if
We do, and that's why I want to say, I don't want to let them go necessarily, but what I want us to be aware of is twofold. When we sat down with the board of, we're not there,
Yeah.
selectmen, Nelson and Veronica both said, well, if we don't pay for it, then the people who are making the fire trucks are gonna go out of business, and everything's gonna be lost.
I don't
that's
care.
not our
I
problem.
well, I don't care either, but I want to say that these fire companies are manufacturing companies are no longer mom and pops. They are now owned by great big equity companies who don't care. And so they do this kind of corporate bullying. This happens all over the country in every field. And I just feel that not given the privy of what happened and what all the alleged negotiations were, I don't know if we struck back hard enough. New York still has their case, they dismissed based on the venue because this company has 20,000 corporate fails, and their lawyer, the New York lawyer, didn't catch the correct one for the state of New York.
That's
So
all
the
it takes.
technicality
Yeah,
gave a dismissal, but that's the corporate bully game
yeah, no,
at
I
its
agree.
highest. So I just, 2 things strike me. Number one, we're not getting transparency from the chief. You know, back to back to
Get
back.
yeah.
He wants the money, that's fine, but don't give us all these different made up stories of why. we should
You know,
get
you should have just come up and said, you know, we screwed up on the contract. We need to pay
Right.
this to get our food, to get our trucks, because if we don't, it's gonna cost us $1 million, you know, an additional whatever.
Well, I
million,
think there's math
500.
that could have been done there, but I'm
But,
not
but
gonna
what,
bet.
but what I'm saying, he could have just said, okay, this contract is screwed up, we screwed up the
And we
contract.
need 80 grand more.
And we need 80 grand more, but we're gonna get the trucks in.
Yeah, I don't think he screwed the contract up though.
No,
I think
no,
the
no,
company
no.
tried to pass it. But the other thing is the tariffs.
But our legal counsel didn't do a thorough job of,
Didn't even look into it.
well, I don't know, because I only half believe what she, I only believe half of what information I get. And
So
so
Dawn,
we don't really know if he looked at them or not.
the other thing is, this is 80,000 that
Mhm.
probably that everyone's gonna stand up and vote for because. But the other thing is, what about the tariffs? And we have to pay the tariffs. Where does that money come from? And that's gonna be a reaction
It
rather than a
is-
proactive move.
Do you
Right.
think, didn't he say that this was it in the
That he doesn't
that-
control the tariffs.
Right.
Imagine that.
But
Well, was there
But
a
I think-
certain date involved?
there was a
there's
date
certain
involved or
dates.
something?
July
The materials for
25.
the first truck are all in because it's in manufacturing now.
So
so-
he told us.
So, right, so we, you know, from the information we've been provided from fire chief, that
Mm-hmm.
the parts for the first trucks were in, so there should be no additional tariffs coming. And they
But
just,
his answer to us, Dawn, was, we'll deal with that when it.
Mhm, right, it's kind of like, yeah, so if
And
it,
that didn't work for me.
no, it really doesn't, because when and I just started to capture a couple of notes from the conversations. One of the things that we have to learn from this case is that when we're voting, we need firm prices when we're voting them. And because
agree.
we have borrowed for this truck at the amount voted at the town meeting in 2022. Since now we have to come back, you can't go out to bond for $80,000 at the end for something you've already voted on. It's kind of like, we've changed the price. To us, it's a bait and switch to the townspeople.
Absolutely.
That we said, if you vote for this and here's your price for the fire truck, now we're coming back and saying it's $80,000 more. Oops.
And then are we gonna have to come back and say we need another 40 for tariffs?
And that's a possibility. Although I will say they just delayed them for a month. It's
I know, I saw that, but that's
yeah,
only till,
but that's only-
till June, or
right,
May,
so-
or April.
Well,
Which,
that's what I'm saying,
yes.
if we sign that contract now, we'll be less than the tariffs.
No, we can't avoid, if the tariffs are the tariffs,
they,
and they're in effect, you gotta pay them or they won't let
well,
the truck
the
come
Wouldn't
across.
they-
importer has to pay.
Did
The
he say they
importer
were
has to
being
pay for it.
delivered, were they May or?
May's June,
I thought it was July,
July.
August,
July.
2020.
Oh, okay, it was later. Oh, I
So,
had May in my head.
beginning
Okay.
of, but maybe that was a date to go out and see the final.
I just think that if
Assembly.
we're the watchdogs,
No,
that,
I-
that we should be getting firm figures and
Right.
firm answers, and we shouldn't have a different answer every time we ask the same question.
I
Yeah.
agree. Maybe we need to start looking at contracts.
Maybe we
Well,
just,
I won't argue with that. you know.
maybe a person from the finance board, might be, should
Mhm.
probably be
Yeah, I mean,
part
you know-
of the contract reading, and
right, and signature.
I don't know who it is now.
Yeah.
Who's it now?
I would say it's probably between the town council, the purchasing, which is town administrator at this point, and the manager, or department head, would be involved in it. As far as what flows from there, the treasurer has to go out and get the bonds and put together packages to get bonds and funding when we're going out.
Yeah, I think it would be a
to
good
bond it.
suggestion that somebody from
Mhm.
finance
Yeah, well, there's a report back.
before.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and that's the piece, it's kind of like, as we're doing this, that's the kind of information that we should be presenting to town meeting when we're voting on this, is not just, this is an amount in a line. Let's present the background information, purchase orders, quotes, and that kind of information, so that there's more,
Why does it take 3+ years to,
I think that's going, I think
Yeah.
that's legitimate.
can you look in the contract for one change orders? Did the chief ask for any changes? No. Is there a clause for an inflationary clause? Probably not. There should have been, obviously. Because you're ordering in 22, which is pre-inflation, after a decade or more of no inflation. I don't know how long, but it's been good, but it has been good for a heck of a long time.
Yeah.
This one's taken me all the way back to the late 70s, early 80s. This past inflation and a new one coming up. So, I mean,
I don't know how you protect yourself from this kind of thing, really, because this is a classic corporate bullying move. There's no question about it. And, you can pay $1 million to take them to court. They have a lot of lawyers. They have a lot of.
It would go on for years.
You go on for years. So I think what is really disturbing me about the way this went down was when we came to the meeting of the Board of Selectmen and the fire person was on the Zoom, and he said he needed this based on the escalation clause. That was misinformation. And I think it's the misinformation that's bothering me more than anything else. And the fact that we still have tariffs out there looming and we don't have a plan.
So you would have been better off, or you would have felt better about it if he just came and said that I need another $80,000 rather than go through that.
No, I would have felt better if he had said, we have received this letter, well, I don't know what I'm saying, which is, we got this letter from the corporation, we owe 80 grand. I have written a letter, I have in writing a retort to say that we believe you breached the contract, what are you gonna do about it? To have some kind of rebuttal to that breach. And just have his word. And we know his word is not really that good because he changed his word 3 times in the middle of the conversation last Saturday. So the credibility is not there. So I don't know what happened. I think 80,000 is a lot of money. I do believe it's corporate bullying. I know that there's 4 or 5 other cities that I've called. They have acquiesced. The New York people are hanging in there in New York. But we're probably over a barrel. But I think we should be very, very watchful of
These
this
things,
particular.
well, this is a good lesson for us to be more
This is a
watchful.
lesson, yeah.
But
I do think we should have a plan in the event that we need to spend $60,000 or $70,000 for a tariff.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, please God, it won't happen, but maybe it will happen, and then what happens?
Do we have a plan for if the override doesn't pass?
No.
not
we didn't
not yet.
discuss
We
it.
have to, that's,
You would have been on the plan.
But I think he should have to tell us rather than, oh, I'll deal with that when it happens, or if it happens.
Yeah, no, I
That's
agree.
not good fiscal planning.
No, it isn't.
I
It
don't
is,
think.
no, it isn't. And you're right.
right,
And
it's kind of like what happens if we can't pay the bill when it comes in? It kind of-
Yeah,
Yeah, they're gonna take, they won't,
If the tariff
It won't
increases.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be, oh, shit.
but that's just why we're here.
No, I don't,
Isn't
yeah,
that our job?
yes.
Watch
So,
them.
but this is a good lesson for all of us,
Mhm.
being more cognizant of, contracts and maybe trying to get.
So
a
how
little-
do you put this to the townspeople, to the voters, to let them know what's happening without risking being shot at night?
How can we,
I'm just trying to capture, one of the last item I just put on here was define a plan if tariffs increase the price. Because right now, we have, there is no determined action. Well, I'm just trying to say, I'm trying to capture what, we said that there's no plan if the price increases.
So are we gonna accept this with amendments or how do you? We have to do it diplomatically.
Okay, so
Dave's
actually,
gonna have to do it because,
This says truck, not truck says.
oh no, there's two trucks.
There's two trucks.
So
Okay.
the two trucks, and one truck is encumbered by that $80,000. The other one isn't.
it's only one truck.
He said that they agreed to not change the other truck when
The
they
price
settled
of
on the 80,000 for
But
this
wait.
one.
Do we have two letters? And then we negotiated?
I don't know.
They, I'm sure because they were,
They said it doesn't mean anything, because I don't know who they are.
And they were supposed to give it another, year or two or
Of a-
3
no,
years
1 year
of
of a
warranty.
But that
2 years,
lesson
2
was
years.
learned by them because Wolfboro, New Hampshire, when they got this same exact letter, same wording, everything, it's kind of creepy, and so did New York. They went and negotiated, and the negotiation result was the 1-year warranty. So the company got the scoop, we'll put the 1-year
Mhm.
warranty, that's our
Yeah,
concession.
But I wonder, I never did think, which you just jogged my mind now. So I wonder if they got that 1-year extension in writing.
Wolfboro did,
Or
after the fact. We got it in writing
we got
in
it.
that amendment, but like Dave, I don't know if there were two letters and he negotiated. Wolfboro only had one fire truck, and so we're the only ones that I know of that have two fire trucks.
So let me ask you, do you think, or do we know if Willsboro ordered fire trucks before us and the company kind of learned a
I'm sorry.
lesson immediately?
Yes, they ordered,
Yeah,
their
that's
delivery
okay.
was in 2022.
Oh, I see.
So in
Mhm.
2022, this bait and switch letter was going out to people. I mean, how many people buy fire trucks? Because there's a lot of fire apparatus companies. So Seagraves, that's the one we're dealing with. Wolfboro called, Wolfboro's lawyer, see, and this is the other thing, all the other towns that I've talked to, they had lawyers that did look at this letter, and the lawyer sent the letter to Seagraves. So there's a paper trail of how the town was represented in this debacle.
So
with
we
the
don't,
fire.
so we don't know if our legal counsel ever sent a letter.
We don't know that answer, that's a good question, we don't know.
And the thing is, I think if we.
I mean, we're over a rock and a hard place, two
Yeah,
Oh,
reasons.
yeah.
We need the truck, we need a truck, well, I don't know if we need two, but
Well,
we ordered them.
Didn't he say also that there was somebody else who refused the increase and their truck got basically canceled, and we're actually getting their truck this year, we're getting it a year
Who
early.
that why
was
we're
it? What were
getting-
the
That's the second.
details? Tell us what the name of the company, you know,
the town.
he could say anything. And he's great at that.
Yeah.
You can't fault him. He's got one silver tongue. And he'll have the people bound at the knee at the meeting. So my caveat is, yeah, we should have had the law. Why wasn't the lawyer there? Why isn't there a paper trail of negotiations?
But
I
anyway,
guess that's live and learn, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
almost like the next time they want us to buy a piece of equipment like that, somebody from the finance committee needs to be part of the contract negotiation.
Right, saying
That's what-
right along,
Yeah.
we should be part of the reading of the contracts.
Yeah. I got hoodwinked on the new shed, stable shed that we got a number of years ago. We asked to get rear doors put in, and he said, no, they won't work, they won't work very well, et cetera, which he was wrong. So we finally had to go back and say, get at least one door in, the back door, I mean. And, they charged us a lot of money for the exchange, and I had to go with it, I had no choice, because I had to have that bloody door.
You see, that's one of the
I
things.
needed all three of them, to be honest with you.
That's one of the things. Now that corporate America has become part of, hedge fund and equity companies, they know all these little things to browbeat people. And they know that you want what you need
What you want.
when you have it, you need it. And that's what they rely on. And we can't fight that because we're not equipped financially. But I do think that the people who represent us should be representing us with full disclosure to the best of their ability, and the lawyer should be involved, and there should be a paper trail of negotiations.
Well, definitely, any contracts like this in the future have to go to the lawyer.
But I'm not necessarily trusting the lawyer to know how to buy a car or
Yeah.
a fire truck.
Yeah,
or a ladder to put on that fire
No, but
truck.
the lawyer should be able to look at a contract and look at a
And
bait
identify,
and switch and say, hey, whoa, this is a breach.
In big,
or an
Yeah.
escalation clause and at least
If it
let's
is,
say
it
that
is.
that
And a
it's there.
definition of that escalation clause,
Correct.
Mhm.
because that escalation clause doesn't mean I quoted you, the manufacturer. I can buy this for $5 and sell it to you for $10. Now, all of a sudden, I have to buy this for $10, so I'm gonna up your
Mhm.
fee, another $5 to get my $5 back.
And I do think that we've gone through that COVID thing where the supply chain thing is, we're getting tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
That's another.
Yeah.
That's a dead and gone, it's an excuse now.
So I don't know how you word it, because this is a yes or no, we
Right.
recommend it or we
We-
don't.
that's, yeah, short term is recommend yes or no.
Put a phrase in afterwards that all contracts must be.
In the finance committee notes where I'm adding, that's what I've been capturing is that,
Yep, see if, yeah.
we're trying to,
What is it? I can't read it.
okay,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so we're,
Will this
Um,
get printed and passed out as part of the meeting?
it will, that's,
Oh,
that's,
great, perfect.
right, so I'm trying to capture it, there'll be probably some of the wordsmithing that I have to do on it. But as we always do with these meetings, we try to capture our thoughts, including processing improvements that we're seeing as a result of some of this, cough drop.
But I couldn't miss this. It's okay.
Looks like an M&M.
So how do you work?
Yeah, how do we-
So we're gonna
Well,
vote
it's-
to recommend it with,
Reservations.
Oh, I have,
Yeah, oh, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
that's good.
You can say recommend with reservations,
Mhm.
I would say would be,
and,
Right. Yeah.
and the reservation could, I mean,
could be some of
well,
those,
it sounds like the reservation is really, in the future,
Right,
we need finance committee involvement in large purchases
right,
that require,
Over X dollars,
that
definitely.
require bonding,
right, and,
Require bonding, yeah.
right.
right?
and-
Because this purchase required bonding.
Mhm.
So we could say, in the future, any purchases requiring bonding need to have finance committee involvement.
Right, and again, I'm putting additional documentation so that people at town meeting know what they're voting for. If there was a quote for the price of the truck, and we saw that, that's one piece. All the articles and what we present to the people is only the words and how much money. There's no backing and no
Right.
background information. So as we're doing a recommendation sheet, it would be nice to have a sheet behind it that said, this is what the quote is.
Well, then the
how
paper
we got
trail
there.
of the transaction,
A paper trail.
I think is critical for us to see. And
right.
there is obviously, we weren't getting that.
And if we had them early enough, we could post them on the website and it'd be available on the website.
I think
Yes, we
people
do
have a
this.
right to know.
Oh, I do.
Mhm.
I like the recommendation with reservations.
Reservations.
Yeah, with reservations, that's a good
yeah,
idea.
yeah.
I can see this coming again, because doesn't he want to ambulance when you say get ready, so before
Yeah.
the town closes?
Yeah.
Have to get the doom and gloom.
Well, and that's why I'm saying, that if you want a new ambulance, well,
Mhm.
let's go through these contracts better and make sure that if this clause is in here, it's spelled out
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
Or it's struck and say, well, we don't,
Right.
Until
we
we've
don't
seen
want
it.
that.
We're a municipality
Can't
and we are.
We
are
can't
bound by
do that.
stricter-
And how about doing a little bit of homework before on the vendor?
Mhm.
Right,
And
find
this
another,
vendor has, you go on and you find the lawsuits
Yep.
immediately.
Yep.
It's not a secret.
Do we vote on or not?
Well, we can certainly vote. I captured that, recommendation with reservations, so, do we
Do we
wanna?
say the recommendation, the reservations?
We can.
recommend with.
So I think the
reservation.
reservation,
will be captured under the finance.
the reservations are captured in those notes.
Yeah.
Right?
See,
Mhm.
with finance committee notes.
So,
What did it say? From this case, our learning must be the contrast which is firm prices. We voted at town meeting with no price changes.
Mhm.
Recommended finance committee member part of the negotiation team. And I think we should
Yep.
say that town council should be part of the,
Yep.
Negotiation.
negotiation team. And we should vet the vendor before we,
Well, I mean, we're paying him, the lawyer. He should be automatically part of the negotiation team.
Right.
Isn't that what he's getting paid for? I would think.
I don't know. I really honestly, I have no clue what he's getting paid.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah.
He's a lawyer.
I think that's nicely put,
Vendor vetting.
don't you?
It's captured, maybe, like I say, maybe I'll wordsmith it a little bit, but.
Theoretically,
Don't make it too
amendments in a contract
Mhm.
get described as part of the words that follow the word amendment.
Right,
Okay, what do you mean by any amendment?
right, and
If it's
And
the
again,
purchaser making amendment, yes, the seller has the right to increase the price to cover the amended changes.
Yeah, but there were no changes.
and,
This did not come from our side. This came from their
Yeah.
side telling us,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, we can't make the truck for $835,000.
Right.
You're gonna have to give us another 10%.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't understand where that, because I don't know the contract,
Mhm.
where they have the right in the contract to do it again, that now you're into contract law, and
Clearly in contract law right now. And they clearly could have violated it.
right. So I'm just making a note, as part of this background information, we should probably have the original truck price, the original article, how much was voted in that capital plan. And then what this increase is, and then to mention it, that there's gonna be, what did he say, 120,000 for each truck to outfit it after they come in?
Where is he gonna get the money for that?
I,
What was that? Say that again.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. Now that you
What
say
is
that, I
it?
remember him saying that about outfitting the truck,
Mhm.
which I thought it came
Well,
already
he-
outfitted, but he did say that at
I can
Saturday.
understand hoses being replaced, I really can.
yeah.
yep.
But I remember it coming out and asking him directly, are you taking the old equipment off that can be
Mhm.
reused and put on the fire truck? And he said, yes. But I mean, I do understand hoses. They don't last
Mhm.
forever. I
No,
get it.
yeah.
No.
We do when you use them as bumper guards on the side of a
Well,
Yeah, there's that.
So we'll be voting on this?
Well, we haven't made a recommendation, so
Can
A
we-
motion
As a
to-
committee, can we use the word abstain?
we can, if you don't wanna vote on it, we record that vote.
Insufficient data available as to what went wrong.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We have insufficient information.
In other words, do
And
we
just 'cause
need
we're over
to,
a barrel
do we,
doesn't
in
mean
the
we
end, do we
gotta
need
vote
to
on it.
pay for it? Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean I can jump up and down and say, it's a great idea, let's just keep giving our money away.
Mhm.
I agree 100%. We're not gonna be taking the final vote on this, the people are.
Yeah,
people are going, so we can say that, well, that's,
So we don't recommend it based on lack of information. We could say that.
yeah,
Yeah, we could.
that would do too, is a little harsher, but nicely
No,
harsher in the right direction.
We have done similar things in the past.
Oh, you
Um,
have?
Yes, it's kind of like when we can't come to a decision, we find that we can't support something. We have taken that vote and said
But-
we came to make no recommendation on
we
this.
can, we came to vote, give no recommendation. We don't have to,
Mhm.
and then that's
I like the first way it was worded.
With the reservations?
No,
Oh, insufficient information.
insufficient information.
It's kind of like, so we can't, it's,
No, due to insufficient.
yeah, there are
information
still
or-
many questions and insufficient
Mhm.
information. that-
abstain with, I think we
Right.
could abstain with, recommendation with reservations.
Mhm.
including we know.
So
that-
it's up to the,
Right.
Town people.
We know the town needs, needs the truck, but, we,
So.
Well,
we rec-
abstain is a little bit different than no.
I know,
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's a little
right.
softer.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because it has a tendency to say, we are very much aware of the fact that it needs to be done.
Right,
We are against it being done, and therefore we have to abstain from voting. You, as a general public, out in front of us,
Right,
have the right to not vote for it too.
right, right.
But they have to know why we are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're all, this man's a genius with a keyboard. Hell, a lot better than I am. My horse,
it takes me forever to get this stuff.
my horse types better than I do. And I've
No,
been
that's the
practicing
thing
since
before. Those are two others that he posted
1971.
beforehand.
This was in 22.
They still did two things at
There
the
was
same time.
another article, so, I think it was in June too, the 7:45. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
I didn't know if you needed that.
I didn't have it.
No, that's good to,
No.
You want to look up what the other one, possibly the other one was?
Yeah.
Because that was the next
that's
year, right?
23, yeah, that was the next year, so,
I'm not-
23. So, okay, so that was May of 22
Right,
that we did that, okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Kinda,
So Don, that you put it nice. From this case, our learning must be that contracts have to be firm.
When I was in the lumber business, we had a door and a window shop. If you ordered something to be manufactured, would we put the door, made the thing that goes in that hole where the doorway is. So it's the whole thing, trim it off.
Things I
And we
don't
put the wrong
understand.
trim
Why-
on it.
Why do we go out of the country? I mean, one's in the country, one's out of the country. Why do we just?
No,
do
that's a corporate, that's the corporate.
It's a
thing.
corporate,
You
right,
can't
right,
control that.
right now, it's kind of like, right now, this company is doing the final assembly test in
Oh.
Minnesota, but other parts are manufactured in Canada, and I'm sure they're getting parts from China.
Right,
So
Oh.
it's, I mean,
Everything
just,
comes
just,
from
just,
China.
just like your car. Your
Yeah,
car
I
has
know.
parts and transmissions come from Mexico, and it's kind of like, so there's this final assembly and test plant that puts it all together and delivers it.
Okay, and right,
to
and
the-
and what he said that he was told was that all the parts needed to finish the assembly are already in Minnesota.
Mhm.
So there should be no additional tariffs on them, because at the
Oh,
time they came to Minnesota,
It-
the tariffs were not
it
there.
was
oh,
clear, yeah.
So I think that's what he's claiming.
That's
He
what
was
he's going
told.
with, right, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
as long as it doesn't go back over the border, because
Right,
with the reciprocal tariffs, if you have a part and you send it back to Canada and then back, there are tariffs that go
Both
both
ways, both
Oh.
ways.
both ways now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, so it's kind of like tariffs can complicate things and.
Can we put that we would like to have a plan in event of tariff,
Mhm.
additional fees for tariff?
Right.
Yeah.
From him? I mean,
From
We
somebody,
can ask, yeah.
Okay,
somebody of authority.
we can do.
if somebody comes to my house in an ambulance
Mhm.
and I can't get my hands on my pistol fast enough, and he hauls me away, he's gonna charge me $1,000.
It's gonna cost you $1,800.
Oh, it's up. It was $1,000 the last time one had to come.
are we talking about the
Yeah.
EMS?
We're talking about the ambulance receipts,
Oh,
okay?
oh,
Now.
yeah, okay. Oh,
What, I mean, he's borrowing the money from the ambulance receipts. How he's gonna pay it back, I don't know.
It's saying that we're gonna borrow, I believe, borrow the money, but the payments to repay that debt will come from ambulance receipts. Much.
Okay, borrow and
Yeah.
take the, so what are the ambulance receipts available for besides paying for the ambulance and the EMTs?
That's all that ambulance receipts can be used for.
Okay,
So he talked about giving an extra $100,000 to the town.
Yeah.
Last August,
Saturday.
right,
August, yeah, he
Oh,
talked
yeah.
about it on Saturday,
Yeah.
but it was part of the town meeting.
Right.
The special town meeting in August. So that 100,000 could only pay for EMS or fire
Yeah.
or the vehicles, but that freed up $100,000
For
in
other-
the general fund that we could use to
Right.
support the trash and the other things that we were using it for. kind of, so truly the ambulance receipts is a special revenue account that can only be used to
For that.
support the department that is generating.
Is that EMS and fire, or can that go in both directions?
Fire and EMS, there is one department. You don't have a separate fire and a separate EMS. All the people are within, and that's why it's fire/EMS.
So the fire truck is part of the EMS and therefore part of the ability to be part of the ambulance receipts.
Right. Yep.
Okay, just one idea.
Yep.
Fine.
Yep, no, that's,
Good to ask
we're still, yeah, exactly.
I just didn't
We're
know
still-
how far out that
Right,
goes.
and
That's
I
fine. He's very well explained.
I was
Thank
gonna
you.
find your email, but
Thank you.
while I'm talking about receipts, you had sent in what happens if we have extra.
Yes, yeah, so I
yeah,
asked the
we saw
question,
that, yeah.
I mean, because, and it's really more out of curiosity and how do we
Right.
deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And, because my question is basically, what happens if we get, let's say we pass the budget as is, the override goes in, and what we came up with Saturday, that's what we're operating on.
Mhm.
Good, nice, okay,
Yep.
fine, we move forward. And we've based it on this income and this outcome.
Mhm.
Well, then all of a sudden, let's say what happened, let's say we get lucky and by July, more people are buying purple bags, and instead of 40,000 a month, we get 50,000 a month. So at the end of the fiscal year, we got an extra 120,000 income from the purple bags.
Mhm.
What happens with that income? What is that how does that?
That income goes into the general fund
Yeah,
and then gets certified in the following December, and it becomes part of the free cash.
okay, so it's not available for use in the fiscal year where it's generated, it has to become part of the certified free cash in the next year.
In the next year.
Well, that's fine. It's
Right.
good. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to,
Yeah.
wanted to know
And,
that.
and it's we'll see that with, the lots and houses that we're
Right, right,
auctioning. That revenue comes in, but again, it's not, we know how much we sold it for, we have a check, we deposited it,
right,
but
right.
that wasn't part of our revenue that we submitted,
That we budgeted and said
That
this
we
is what we're
budgeted.
going to get.
and this is what we're gonna get. So now we have extra in the general
So the
fund
extra gets basically pushed out for use in the next year
In the
as
next
part
year
of
with
free
the-
cash.
as part of free cash.
And
Right.
then, which also has restrictions on how you use it, right? Because you have to vote articles to allocate the free cash.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
but it's one of the little pockets that you have in your
yeah,
yeah,
cargo trousers. The mini pockets.
yeah,
okay, so we did hit a couple of extra
yeah, that's okay.
topics, but when we were talking about revenue, it kicked me.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
couldn't find the email to respond back to it, it's buried somewhere in my
That's not a problem.
inbox. Kind of, but,
So what have we,
so
we have to vote on Article 3, right? Or
we can,
or do we have to, or can we just say we're gonna abstain and leave it at that?
No, I think we should say yes, no, or
Abstain.
somewhere in the middle.
Okay,
right, so,
That's my.
I was just, yeah, and I was just starting to capture it, where we were saying the finance committee could not,
Committee could not make a determination of this article.
Yeah.
There are many unanswered questions. Wow, that's fair.
right, it's
Yeah.
kind of like, and under the notes, I'll list
Yeah.
what the questions are.
put your notes in there.
And
And so we should still have a vote, right?
we should still have a vote that we want to make no recommendation on this with the appropriate wording
Mhm.
in the recommendation sheet.
Okay, so I will move that we make no recommendation as a finance committee with the wording that's typed in up there
Mhm.
on the sheet.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion to make no recommendation for the article for the fire truck pricing. We had the second, any additional discussion or questions? I know we talked about it quite a bit before. Nothing being heard, roll call vote, and in the affirmative, we are, a vote in the affirmative is for the finance committee to take no action, to not recommend. Not make a recommendation on this article.
Whatever your words are up there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I can get you a copy of this if you want.
David Walker, yes.
Kara Hoff says yes.
Carol Mazekas, yes.
Mary Jane Churchwell, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, yes, it's unanimous.
We're not saying no, but we're not saying yes.
Mhm.
We're being,
Insufficient
we're being
information.
wishy-washy right down to the middle.
But I don't know if we're wishy-washy.
No, I know.
We don't have enough information.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we
that's-
have to
that's-
say no, and
Right,
we don't
Right.
even have enough information to
What
say
year
no.
did this particular letter of the 80,000 come in?
I think
late,
2024.
yeah,
December.
calendar 2024, but that would be, so.
So it took a long time to get to the finance committee.
It came in like November, December.
Well, we don't really know when it came in, because I
Right.
never saw that.
We never saw the
We never
original
saw the
letter.
letter.
Okay.
Okay. Good thing there's only 6 articles.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness, what about the one in April?
Well, so Article 4, I don't understand.
May.
Article 4.
Article 4, is just, it's just asking the town people that are at the meeting, do you want to see a presentation from North Middlesex?
You know, the slideshow?
Then Article 5 is the slideshow.
We have
No, hang on.
No, Article 5 is
No,
to appropriate.
So
the
Article 4 is asking the townspeople, and it's on 2 pages, so it's kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
special town meeting voters
Yeah.
on the North Middlesex Regional School District budget.
do they want to see a presentation from North Middlesex? If the answer is no, then North Middlesex doesn't make the presentation, and we go right to Article 5
Oh, what's our?
So if the answer is yes,
It's
then North
asking
Middlesex
for the
is gonna
money.
stand up and make a
and make the
presentation.
presentation, up on the,
How long does it take for them to do that?
45 minutes.
45 minutes?
Well, and then there's the questions. It's kind of like
Oh,
about.
we'll be there all night
Yeah,
when
no,
they get
no,
here.
staying up.
Not recommend
Yes.
dining on the show.
I
Well, the thing
understand.
is that you don't recommend it.
Well,
You
if,
have people in
Doesn't
the
seem like we
audience.
need to take a position on this.
I think we can, right,
Excuse me?
exactly.
It doesn't seem like we
We
need to
don't
take
need
a
to take-
position
No,
on
we-
this article.
we don't, I
Just
put,
leave it up to
yeah,
them.
I
Yeah.
put not reviewed on this.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
did not
that's
review,
okay.
it, no recommendation.
Okay.
I will tell you one thing though. The Neshoba Valley Tech does have a breakfast where she invites, and she has a tremendous slideshow. I don't know if any of you went to it. Well, you went, Carol.
Yeah,
Did you go, Dave?
No,
No.
It was phenomenal, and
It's
it
easy to
explains
follow.
everything. And she does it well enough ahead of time so that, you know, you have time to digest it and you get it. I think that the high school should take, or the district should take,
They don't have anybody to cook.
well, we don't have to have breakfast, but I think they should
Yeah,
have,
you
Don't
know.
you know, rather than, you know, just dump it on us like they did. And then those horrible meetings that we attended where everybody was ready to shoot everybody.
I
And then
know.
the Ashby and then Spalding, I mean, what did they do? Did they close the school?
I mean, they screamed,
Mike.
the Ashby screamed about their school, so the next thing you know, Spalding's closed and tons of people are screaming about that
Right,
school.
And then they-
and now it's back to Ashby, I believe it's closing.
So,
Wait a minute, why would they close Ashby? That's a hell of a long way to truck people.
Well, yeah,
It is,
and
and
you're
especially
talking
the young
elementary
kids.
school kids.
Yeah,
Kindergarten.
Little,
Jerry
little,
and I did a recon on Sunday.
Yeah,
We decided Ashby should go to Fitchburg. Because Fitchburg High is exactly 4 miles from the Ashby Center, and
so is Crawford.
Crocker Elementary is exactly 6 miles.
And maybe there would be some school choice parents that decide school choice if Fitchburg is accepting.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
mold
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
asbestos in the
but,
which
you know,
one? Their building out there and that?
This,
And it doesn't stop, and just because they lost that part of the
building on.
building, the wing off, doesn't mean it doesn't.
I know.
But that
So we
is,
don't have to vote on
okay,
it.
so
we
we're not.
don't have to, we don't have to vote
Several times a
on
year,
an article.
hopefully more this
for-
year.
Okay,
I head out to Ticonderoga. The only way to get to Ticonderoga is up through Ashby at 119. It's the only way to get, actually, if you're going only as far as Keene, that's the only way to get there. That trip from Ashby Center to Spalding is one hell of a drive.
Oh, you mean along Willowbrook?
I'm driving a 27,000 pound
Mhm.
truck and horse trailer, okay?
That's a treacherous.
That's the average loaded. And at one point in one of my drives with my brother-in-law, we came pretty close to going straight where the road goes like this. Because there's, no little what yellow markers or reflectors to say the road's going that way. So it kind of snuck up on me with a long back, 3.5 hour ride out, and a 3 hour ride back to that point, and plus the whole day, doing presentations, and it snuck up on me. That entire Serpentine Road is pretty darn bad.
Yes.
And I did.
Not to mention, they could be up on the hill, on the hills off the main roads.
Mhm.
It's kind of like they
Right.
have to get the kids from their homes to a center spot and get them
Yeah.
to town.
Well,
They're gonna be on.
Until the state stops screwing us,
Mhm.
the school's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because if they didn't close Ashby, this number would probably be double.
It would
Quite
be,
possible.
it would be higher, yeah.
I do understand the problem with the state. What I don't understand is why every town in the state isn't, doing, not the kind of protest on the steps of Beacon Hill, but a similar, getting together, getting our representatives in one room, Democrat or Republican, I don't care, and say they're not allowed out until they start fixing the school systems that they've started.
Yeah, because there's 120 towns supposedly in the whole same fix, so
we're
all those
not alone.
representatives, that's a lot of
I
representatives.
mean, there's
Right.
theoretically, and I think somebody here knows that I'm telling accurate. When that school bus comes by in the morning while I'm having my morning coffee, my daughter doesn't get on that. Hasn't gotten on that since before the COVID. She went from COVID to Francis Parker, and she's never coming back. Yet, as far as I know, there's a seat on that bus for her that is not responsible free there. You have I've been in the automobile business in the 70s into the 80s. I know how to understaff as far as appointments in order to take the emergency kid. There's no reason why there shouldn't be a full bus, less a few seats in the event that somebody, or a evaluation of how the busings are going to do in the middle of the year when somebody else comes in. And these little go-karts that run down the road with school bus written on the top of them.
Those are for the special needs,
And out of
I think,
district.
only.
Yeah.
The special needs.
Yeah.
Out of district.
United District.
Where I come from in Pennsylvania, special needs also meant superior kids.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think they do up in Massachusetts.
No, they
it-
don't in
it's kind of-
Massachusetts.
so-
Plus, I
Yeah.
think the state
And-
mandates that they be one
I
seat
see.
for every child. whether
Exactly,
they
and
take-
that,
Yep.
there was
It's a mandate.
It's
it's an end, but it needs to be unmandated.
Right, that's
the difference.
what I said, we need to tell the state to go.
I see us all arguing here,
But we
with
can't,
the selectmen here, with the townspeople here. But I don't see any of us getting together with Ashby and Pittsfield and everybody else
every other 120 towns.
and saying these
Yeah.
things should be repaired.
Oh, 211.
211.
Yeah, that's what we need to do, but we can't solve that here tonight.
I know we can't, but where do we
But-
start?
But those are the pieces. And if you look at the seats on the bus and then go down to any of the schools when
They
they're getting out
don't
or
load
dropping off,
Huh?
it's kind of like there's a line of cars and a backup traffic trying to get in and out of the schools. And every one of those
Yeah,
students.
I do
Has a seat
too.
on the
I've
has-
been in
has
that
a
line
seat on the
picking up
bus.
my
Right.
granddaughter.
So when the buses are running, they're running practically empty.
I understand.
Because of all the alternate transportation, but nobody's willing to give up the seat on the bus, just in case the car breaks down, they can't get there in snow, whatever.
There's
whatever
plenty
it
of
is.
research to
It's kind of, but
really can improve on the transportation cost
it's,
without running into a situation.
but the situation is the mandate of the seat on the bus.
And the
it's kinda
state
like-
doesn't give
and
us
so-
any money, they don't give us
Right,
any.
they don't fully fund the transportation
Truly,
costs.
so they
It's
don't
kinda
plug
like,
it
so,
all.
and you don't get competitive bids from bus company to
Well,
bus
that's the
company,
other thing.
town to
Well, that
town.
can be solved.
It's kind of like, so,
That can be solved.
those are the pieces, we're not necessarily gonna solve them here, and that's just from the transportation side, not all the mandates for in the classroom. And again, the funding is per student cost. They don't look at the cost of the region and what it costs to run the budget. So the formulas they use to provide money, and again, we used to have 4,000 students in the North Middlesex district.
Right.
There are 3,000 students now.
Mhm.
So the fact that we have reduced the student population by 25% is kind of like, that's why it looks like we're not getting much money year over year, is because the population has shrunk, but the overhead in the schools hasn't. And it's kind of like, so that's where you have to start and really get everybody to start looking at the formula calculation may be off. It's kind of like, and
So I just
it's
take
along
it.
with the unfunded mandate, so it's a whole, it's a whole mess, sorry, it's kind of like,
I
so
would've-
we're not reviewing Article 4. Article 5 is a vote on the override.
I don't really like the way this is worded.
I don't understand it.
Well, because,
Okay. Yep.
remember, I remember last year, a big part of the controversy was if you didn't, the override was targeted to the school,
Right.
not the town budget. If you didn't vote for the override, the town budget didn't change, but the school budget had to change. And that's the way this is worded here
It's the same
again.
thing.
And when we were talking Saturday, it was kind of like these two things are tied together. This 1.3 override is for the town and the school, not
Right.
just for the school.
Exactly, and
Yep.
that's the way it's written, because it was written, the motion was written before we got the updated assessment, which dropped it to the 1,010,666.
So
which
they're
is
not
in-
asking for the
which-
1.3?
No, we are, because we needed to make that
Because,
adjustment.
because the budgets we were dealing with on the omnibus budget and said we were gonna take the remainder of this, which is 323,000, and use that to fund the town operating budget. So it needs to be clearly stated, and I tried to do that here, is documenting what the current assessment is. I didn't put it in, I just put X's for now. But the current assessment that we had on Saturday is the number we need to put in here, and talking about if there is,
Let me ask with this.
Yep.
You know, this letter about the debt assessment of 1.256104.
okay, yep. So let me call up
So
the omnibus.
is that different than the overall school budget?
Yes,
Or
let
that's
me-
in addition to the school budget?
Let me call up the omnibus, and,
So we
okay,
need three things. We need the school, the general fund, and trash, or do we just need the school and the general government?
School and general government.
Government,
Well,
So do we get a number for the school and a number for the general
Okay.
government?
so,
I have a question.
well,
about
they
if
didn't
we're going
split
to-
it, they should have split it out
I
that
think it
way.
should be split,
Yeah,
three ways. General, school, trash.
Well, the trash is
Right.
part of the general.
right now, yeah, the rest of the town operating budget, and I don't, semantic wise, we call just one part of the government, the general government. The rest of it is the whole town operating budget. It's the public safety, it's culture and recreation, it's
So what's
all of
that?
it together.
Public safety, culture, all the.
Okay,
what is
so
that?
we'll
And the
get,
treasurer
okay,
does
so
all
let's,
of that?
okay.
we started with education, let me
Okay.
finish with
Okay,
education, then we'll go to.
So it's school, both schools, right, Don?
So I'm highlighting up here, we have two lines for North Middlesex. We have the assessment that we have for their
Oh, the
operating
debt
budget,
area.
and then the exempt debt. So that 1.2 million you were just reading,
Mhm.
1,256,104 is the debt exclusion for the building.
So do you subtract that from the 14,000 or add it? I mean,
It's,
14 million.
if we're looking for the total, it's the two of them
We're
together.
looking for the total. We
We're
might as well
looking-
just do the bad news.
Well, again, the debt is going down year over year because we're paying down the principal.
No, I
It's
understand
kinda-
that, but
so-
still, we still have to pay it in a year.
We still have to pay it in the year, and then Neshoba Valley has the same. And again, the assessment is the ongoing budget, and then the exempt debt, much like what we have in the town operating budget, we have the debt separated. And when
God
they were,
bless you.
bless you, when they were voted as 2.5 override exemptions, so they're listed separately, so that as you do your math and add it up, they're excluded from the Proposition 2.5 assessment. You need it bigger, Kathy?
Okay, so the
It's
school,
kinda-
the
Sorry,
school
it's kind of,
is 15,293,530. Is that Townsend's share or is that the full?
that's
school?
Townsend's share. The school is gonna be about 66 million.
Oh, no.
So what was that
Really?
again? Mary
Okay.
Jane, it was 15 million, what was it?
293,530. I added that.
Yep.
Okay,
My friends know I don't add those.
but,
Yeah, no, those are good. It's kind of like,
Did you do it too?
I didn't see it.
yeah,
okay.
down on the bottom, when I highlight two cells and bring them together, down here, it highlights what that total is.
Oh,
Okay.
I got it right.
Yeah,
Nice.
You were perfect.
Great.
And so the education assessment is all 4 lines, 2 from each school,
Yep.
1 exempted from 2.5, the other, we have to squeeze into the 2.5
Okay.
budget.
So when we vote for so we vote for the two schools as school,
As education.
as
yeah.
education.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
both schools are.
So the black areas that we highlight in the omnibus, those are the major sections, so that's why you see education is in the black. So if I filter on black, you can see the major
Okay,
sections. So we had general government,
Mhm.
we have public safety, in the education, highways and street, solid waste, human services, culture and education,
Oh, I remember when we did this.
and then the debt, and then the insurances. Again, it's kind of like it's the first time you're seeing it,
Yeah,
yeah,
and then you saw it for the first time put together on Saturday.
so general government total.
Mhm. Yeah.
Does that include public safety, education,
No,
highways?
no.
So what's general government total?
Okay, if we look, it goes down to line 253 in the omnibus,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna get rid of my filter.
What's it called again, general
General,
government?
general government, yeah. And so here, I'll filter on gray,
you're so good with these
and
spreadsheets.
then
Oh,
does not contain.
Oh,
contain.
God bless you. Am I giving you
Total.
something, Joe?
I have more. Okay, so what this does is breaks it down so that we can see, it's the Board of Selectmen, it's the Finance Committee, Accounting, Board of Assessors, Treasurer Collector, the Legal, MIS,
Okay, okay.
Town Clerk, Elections, Registrars, Street Listings, Conservation, the MRPC dues, the Planning Board, Zoning Board, Land Use, Facilities. That gets us to the end of
Yeah.
general government.
So how much is that altogether?
Oh, okay, well,
Okay,
Oh,
never
now
mind,
you-
never mind.
no, it's kind of like, I mean, I can certainly go
No,
back
I'm
there.
good.
It's kind of like, so we can put it together. So that one altogether is 1,921,000. Hey, you know what? It's kind of like, let me get these to you.
Oh, I see.
It's kind of like, so,
Right, that's the sum of all those,
that's the
Yeah.
sum
that's
of
the
all
sum of
those
all those
departments.
departments that he listed.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, so if we want to see how that building block was put together, we can go up and
We did that on,
We did that
we
on
did that on
Saturday,
Saturday, right?
right.
It's kind of like, and I think this is not Nelson's version of it. This is the version that I copied. So if Nelson has updated anything,
So now, why
I don't
is
have
the
it.
number on the bottom 12 when,
Okay,
does
so,
that number exclude the school?
no, yes. Okay, so if I highlight this,
Okay. it
you'll
excludes the
see
school,
that
yeah,
I took the total of the budget
right,
and then subtracted out the schools to say the town amount of the budget is 12,516,000.
So do you think that the voters, I mean, I know how I feel about it as a voter, but as a group, do you think that they understand this?
oh, they have,
They have a
no,
clue?
no, I don't think they do at all.
But you know what? I, as a voter, all I care about is how much is my taxes going up? I don't care about the
Mhm.
1,034,000. I wanna know what my taxes are gonna go up.
Mhm. Right.
In the end,
Well, yeah, you probably wanna know that before you even go to the meeting, which you'll never know.
but that's what I wanna know, and I
Mhm.
asked that at Nelson, and he tried to give me
Oh,
that,
no.
that
It's comfort.
crappy.
We can work on that after. It's kind of,
Okay, how do you feel about that, Dave? I mean, do you? And
I-
Carol's right, the bottom line is what you really wanna know, but
but everybody's is gonna be different and there's a different
Right.
impact. And if you added on your house this year, you might see a higher increase than me if I didn't add on to my house. It's kind of like, so you can't necessarily 100% pursue it, but what you can do is say, this is what it looks like per thousand, and then you multiply it by how many thousands your house has been valued at.
So you asked me how I feel frustrated because I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about this. Because all these contracts are pre-negotiated, people have an automatic increase, all this kind of stuff.
So,
You know, fire, you know, I'm frustrated because I don't think there's anything we can do except suck it up.
Well,
Go over and
Or-
take it, because if we vote no, okay, fine, then we're gonna basically be throwing people out. And I mean, okay, fine, if we throw people out, we have to throw people out,
Yeah.
but then everybody's gonna be bitching about where are all the services?
Right.
gone?
well,
Yeah. well, and
So, and I mean, it's like, we as a finance committee, as far as I can tell, we have no control. All we can do is say, well, this is what's gonna happen.
no, we can't do that.
we
We
can-
absolutely cannot do that.
Well, but we
That's not
can't,
right.
because we can't say, if we could go in and say, all right, the town is in a horrible financial condition, we're not giving raises this year. We can't do that. If we could do that,
But
we don't
can
need an
say-
override.
maybe we could get rid of the clothing allowance.
But we
But
can't.
then-
but we can't, because that's
I know.
negotiated in the
I-
in the
contract.
contract.
Well, that's the thing I think that we can recommend. I don't understand how you get to the recommendation part and where any authority or any information that we have gets to the people. I do think there are things, I think that there are definitely cuts. I think there's probably $400,000 worth of salary cuts that you could take out of that budget. Really, and I'm sorry people might lose their job, but I really do. Because I think there's a lot of, well, what's the word? Friends and family. And they're being protected. I don't think they're particularly,
She talked about consolidating departments. That might be something to do if it
it
saves
might be
money.
something to
I
do.
The
do
other thing is, who looks at the clothing allowance? You can't tell me that they're buying boots I mean, that's a lot, that's a lot of,
ridiculous.
Right,
that's a
well,
lot of money
I
that
mean,
they're
but
getting
the
for
problem
clothing.
is, we can't just say we're limiting the clothing allowance.
No,
Because
but
what
because
we
then
can
that's, because
say-
it's negotiated in the
Well, yeah,
contract.
But what we can say is we want professional negotiators to represent towns and not the board of selectmen and the town administrator.
Well, that's what I was gonna, one thing I was gonna
Several
ask.
years ago, I made the recommendation in this room, not this room, when we were in a different room. That the Board of Selectmen, it should be in the town charter, Board of Selectmen can't do anything without the advice and consent of the Finance Committee. Not that we have a vote,
Mhm.
not that we have a vote, but that meant you have 3 plus
Balance.
7 or 6 or 5 people looking at a problem and trying to pick up. So we have lost a lot of money in this town just by contract being very badly laid out for
Very
certain
badly
ones.
negotiated
Yeah.
by
Yes.
whoever, and I think that that's one of the big things that I don't know, we as finance can wait, but we as people should be saying, well, you know, we need a real negotiator, because those union guys, they're top notch.
But
What if we had, a vendor? Do you want jackets? You all get the same jacket.
Oh, yeah, my
You know, you
brother,
want
Well, yeah.
boots, you all
has
get the
this,
same
he
boots.
can get a uniform
Yeah.
allowance, but he's gotta buy
And you gotta buy
an
it.
outfit
You gotta buy
and wear it, and wear it.
Well,
and wear it.
usually,
It says town
well,
of Massachusetts on it.
that's why I don't understand why there's not a Massachusetts site
Mhm.
that they go to
To buy.
to buy
buy.
the stuff, because the federal
There
government
must be.
has a
Yeah,
site
It probably wouldn't
that
be,
you go
it
to.
probably wouldn't
to
be a
buy-
whole lot cheaper though.
Well, no, you're right, because in some instances,
Because they might get the per unit cost down, but then the state would probably add a whole bunch of
but
fees on
well,
top of
even
it.
the federal government, there was all
Yeah.
kinds of, I always
The
said,
GSI.
I always used to say, fire me, because I'm going to the cheapest thing and I'm not following the rules and just.
I just went to my
forget it.
commander and said, I think I can get that better at the PX, and then you waiting 2 weeks to get it here.
So I think there's things we can do, but I don't think that this committee has,
Well, they've never asked.
well, I don't think no, we've gotta tell
Mm-hmm.
them, we don't care what they think, we have to tell them. And I think we have to
I guess have to
be
go
more,
online and look at the
proactive.
contracts and find out when they,
Unless,
When they-
I
when they
can't
were
remember
hired,
anything, but there were certain,
she said that they were on
Uniform
the town, if it goes
in
to
the,
the town administrator's site, that I could probably.
the
look at all
contract
of
for
it.
whatever we were looking at, for whichever department, for a person that didn't need a uniform allowance, I'm sorry. Well, they sometimes get out of their car.
Well, usually
Oh,
the
my
contracts
God.
usually only good for so
the
long,
assessor sometimes.
something, and they get renegotiated.
So who does that?
I don't
That's
know.
the problem. Who does the renegotiating?
Yeah, I don't know.
IT, accounting, they do
I
not,
would say
unless
it's
you're wearing
the
a blazer or a whole.
Town council, select board and town
Oh,
administrator.
For IT and for the accounting, it's way too expensive.
Oh, I think outsourcing is horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
mostly,
terrible. I think,
Especially for the services that we get from. the-
what about Guardian?
They probably cost us triple to what if we had somebody in house.
Yeah, I think there's things that can be done. But we
Well,
have to do
But
it
we
through
have to be
grassroots with the
included, but
people. We have to
thing
do
is,
it
we
through
have-
grassroots with the people.
And we have to be included in their negotiations. They have to. Oh, because we're not included in the.
No,
No,
nobody
right.
has, they're running the show. Are you kidding me? The two selectmen are on every single solitary board in the town.
Well, they're on the boards because they were the liaison. When there's a third, they'll develop the work.
that's
with the
a-
board.
No,
reason
no,
they
I
have
mean, they're
five.
on the boards
Other-
as
Right.
heads,
As-
chairs,
Yeah.
members, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this article.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, how do we
thank
do
you.
this?
Now, generally, do we want to recommend how people vote their Prop 2.5? Or do we, again, let the town members vote the way we are? We don't, I would like to say yes, vote 2.5, but it's kind of, because that would allow us the flexibility of not having to take this $1 million or 1.3 million, and if it does, if the school budget gets voted by the two other towns, we're
We
gonna
have to pay
we're
it
gonna pay
anyways.
it.
we have to pay it, and if we don't vote the override, that means that you have 1.2 million more that has to come out of the town budget.
What do you mean
It's-
more?
So
More than the school?
less, if the other two towns vote the North Middlesex budget,
Right.
Townsend is responsible for our amount. That's
16,000, 16,000.
The 16 million.
Yeah, the 16
but that's
million,
at the polls, right?
that,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Who
This-
goes to the
on the-
polls last?
on the 10th,
They all go,
well,
same day.
there's,
Everybody goes to the polls on
again,
the same day.
it's a,
Okay.
Yeah.
Ashby and Pepperell on the same day.
Same day of the
I
week,
thought
huh?
they were a week off
No,
that's
not,
part of the
That's town
contract
meeting.
For the election.
for the yes, for the election,
Yeah.
and that's, so there's two parts to this.
Right,
There is the town meetings, and we're all having them March 10th.
Mhm.
But the town, it has to be followed by a town vote. It
Right.
has to be on a ballot. Pepperell and Ashby don't necessarily do the same town vote day that we do.
No, they do.
They,
For the annual,
for the annual?
yes.
Okay.
It's in part of the school
On the-
contract because we have the school committee members.
Okay, yeah,
And the at-large, so it-
thank you. Yep,
So we're gonna vote, the school is a little tiny bit out of our hands because if Pepperell and Ashby vote yes, then we have to pay the 16,000.
million. Yeah.
Million, sorry
I
guys.
wish it wasn't 60.
Yeah.
So what is?
I like
the-
her, her decimal better.
So what is the difference of what's the total of the override?
1.3 million, 1.334.
But that includes the general fund.
Well, but if the override does not occur, the 1.334 million has to come out of the town budget.
So
Mhm.
if the other two towns, if
Yeah,
the other two
if the other
towns
towns
voted,
approve
if-
the school
if
budget.
two towns vote no on the school budget,
Mhm.
the school budget doesn't pass, we're not responsible for it yet. The school has to go back and
And do it over.
do it over. But,
Which is
they-
what happened last
But
year.
they keep
Right.
doing that, I mean.
But- and again, this
Well, that's
is,
what
this
keeps
is the
coming up
dance and
with
it
another $1 million
becomes,
every year.
right, but they could just reduce it by $1 and come back and say, here it is. It's, $1,334,197.
Well, is the game that they keep coming back until we vote for it? Oh,
No,
Well, the number went down last year, each vote, I think, didn't it?
yeah,
I
a
mean,
little bit each time, a couple 100,000 each time, but in the end, it was 150,000, I think, was the number higher than what we were trying to, we had come down that we thought we could afford 505,000.
I have a question for you. We just spent a whole month talking to all these directors and all these whoever they were, and looking at their budgets and getting an idea of why we could cut that cost there, we could cut
Mhm.
that. How come we don't have that same thing with the school?
Because the school,
Does the school committee do that?
Yes.
that's what the school committee is supposed to be doing.
So the school committee would be the finance committee equivalent.
But the school's looking out for the school, not the town.
I see that.
But they came down,
What?
they did come down.
Yeah.
Right, and they were talking,
All right, so what's
this
the,
is with school closure, so,
so we need 1,335,000.
yeah,
if-
let's,
It's
yeah,
on the
It's right
article.
there.
It's on,
It's on the article.
it's on the handout.
You don't have to,
Mm.
Article
Article
5.
I have to think about it.
No, you don't have to think about it.
$1,334 for general fund budget expenses.
and again, they're
For
saying,
the North Middlesex Regional School District operator and transportation assessment of the town, fiscal year such, that
okay,
doesn't make sense.
so, okay,
So
so,
it's for everything. It's for the general fund.
That's what I think I'm trying to say. I
Okay,
want to separate the
so-
school from the general budget.
no.
You can't.
You can't?
The money to pay the whole budget, which includes schools, comes from the general fund.
I understand.
So, okay, but so what we're talking about is doing an override to put the money into the general fund to pay this 1,334,198 to the schools. It's because it has to come from that bucket of money. We don't have the school fund and the general fund. We have the general
Okay,
fund and we
that
pay
pays for the
all
school.
of the
Okay.
different areas of the budget from the one
That's fine.
general.
So
fund.
so the source of the money comes from one spot,
Right.
Mhm.
but the ask is from two places, right? The school.
This
and-
is
Well, you
only
asked
the
us for-
No. Okay, so this started with the ask from the school for the assessment in February.
Uh-huh.
Now, the assessment that we saw on Saturday, which is now March, reduced it by 300,
some thousand.
yeah, 300 and some thousand.
Okay.
So the number in the warrant is a little higher than the actual need for the
From the
line
school.
in the omnibus budget.
But we left the number as it was because the warrant was already written.
Yeah.
And we were short in the omnibus budget that we did. So the extra 300, we said, well, we can use, if we leave the article the way it is, and it's approved, then that extra 300,000 is gonna help us balance
The
our
general
town, our
government,
general
the town
government budget.
Okay,
Yeah,
the 300,000.
right. So it's not accurate to say this 1.3 million is only for the schools.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what,
You want to know what parts actually go into the
So
town
that's, and that's what I think the
versus
townspeople
what
need to know.
actually
Is
is
going-
going to the school.
Right, so the one.
So if you look at the details from the finance committee, I think I put it in there that said the It's gonna be 1,010,000 and change for the school and 332. Did I lose it? Come on,
You sure did lose it. Now
Yeah.
we get-
I lost it, so, but, so if we go from the,
Good shot.
I got a
The school was the town was three 34.
332, was it?
Oh,
Did I not, I've only got it on mine, okay, sorry. Yeah, so the town would be the 330. And change, it'll be back up in a minute here.
Well, it's 198, no, 198.
1,010,000 and change for the school.
Was anything decided about the trash?
Not yet. The
What
Board
was,
of Health has one thought and the Board of Selectmen have another thought. So I won't say it's a single consolidated message.
the only thing I think we really decided on the trash is that if this is approved, we are gonna continue the bag program.
Okay,
And then the only question is, do we go the flat fee contract? Or do we go to the contract where we pay for the tonnage that we throw out?
okay,
And the balancing act is the flat fee rate
yeah,
is probably gonna be higher than if we pay for the tonnage.
right.
But it's possible that the tonnage could go
Anybody
higher.
thought about making a $5 a bag to start with, to help with that?
Well,
There was
yes,
a-
actually, the thought was to add $100 fee on anyone who signs up for town trash pickup
$100 fee?
for the year.
This year.
I think that's gonna go over like a lead balloon. I think if you say the selectman just pointed out that you're gonna pay $17.50 for these 5 bags.
Altogether.
And that's it, okay, that's, okay, we weren't happy about it, but we kind of sucked up and went. And, you know, by increasing the price per bag that you buy, we'll definitely cut down on the tonnage that's hauled out of here. The trash truck came by today, I have one horse bag full of, it's a 50-pound horse feed, full of all the trash for the last 2 weeks. I did not go on today's truck because I still have room in that that purple bag to
Right.
to punch stuff in. You know, we have a small little barrel about so high.
Yeah.
She puts the horse bag in, and
Well,
every now and then, as it starts to fill up, I actually climb in. You know, put 1 foot in and jump up and down. So that stuff's pretty compacted. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, I know what a trash compactor costs if you go to Lowe's, and I also know that they break 5 weeks after you buy them.
Pretty much.
So my leg hasn't broken yet, I'll stick with it.
How come the people don't get to vote whether or not what they want to do with the trash?
I think
We did
We
vote,
need-
don't you remember? We voted a year ago saying we wanted to pay, or whatever, we wanted to pay for the trash, and then all of a sudden they said they had no money for trash, so we went to the purple bags.
That's what I mean, how does it get on the ballot that we just don't even wanna do trash?
Oh, that we don't even want to do it?
I'm certainly
Well-
very much against anybody putting anything on a ballot saying we don't want trash. I came here, oh God, how many decades ago?
so.
It's been a while.
Yeah, there is.
2006 maybe?
February 28th, 2008, I made it official, no longer Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania got the first 2 months of my income tax that year, and the rest went to the fools down at Beacon Hill.
Mm.
I thought Harrisburg was bad.
Okay, so on Article 5, I don't know that we.
So we
want-
don't have a choice.
It's not gonna be according to what everybody's saying, yeah, I thought.
We don't have a decision yet on a decision of how they're gonna go. So if you don't have a decision on which bill or price you're gonna have, you don't know what the steps forward are.
Mhm.
See, that's where it's bothering me.
We have to make the decision very soon so that, because we can't have people buying, and it's not just people buying purple bags. We're gonna use the purple bags until the end of June. at least.
Mhm.
We also have to have the revenue streams in the flow. We have to let Waste Zero, who manufactures the bag, know that we're planning to pull the plug on it. We have to let the vendors know that are buying them. We don't want them to have,
No, I
Buy
know
back.
that, but I
It's
was
kinda
are
like,
they
so
doing
this-
that?
yeah.
no, not yet. It's kind of like,
Not
if there's
till-
no decision, you can't, you,
Oh, they wanna know what's happening May 10th, March
March
10th,
10th.
and then they'll make a decision.
then it-
Rather than be prepared, they're gonna wait until okay.
But then again.
Here's the
can
articles,
they-
there's no trash on here.
No,
no,
but then,
what happens with the override is gonna have an impact on the rest of the operating budget. If we have to cut $1.334 million
Mhm.
from our town operating budget, the place you're probably gonna start with is the trash. Even though there's some revenue with the trash, it's still about a $400,000 gap that you can cut say 380,000 right out of the budget, and then you start looking for the rest
So
of it.
what
you
do we-
gotta cut it very close though, because say this passes
Mhm.
now.
Yeah.
But you really don't know till the April election when it goes on the ballot,
For the-
if
That's right.
if it really
That's right,
passes.
and that's why we talked with Board of Selectmen that we should have two budgets. One that says, this is our budget if it passes.
But that's what we were
Well,
told
yeah,
we were
we-
gonna do, but then it never
Right,
happened.
well,
they-
we just got the first budget done on Saturday. It's kind of like, so,
Oh, I
Okay.
thought we were gonna do the whole thing.
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
Well, I
okay.
think we talked about doing the whole thing, but it was then by the time we finished the first pass, it was 3 o'clock.
Oh, God.
Right, yeah, I couldn't take anymore.
Okay.
it's kind of like, yeah, so
Are we gonna have another,
we're gonna
Another
have,
whole
I
session?
think we're gonna have more joint meetings with them and will we get the picture of what happens if it doesn't pass? And what's the budget gonna look like?
I'm gonna, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna see if I can find that waste management. Cause I asked Nelson about that
Mhm.
and he kind of indicated that they didn't really have a contract. And I remember
what,
distinctly,
Shaw?
no, with waste management to
Oh,
make
oh.
the purple bags because I wanted
Waste
to know.
Zero.
They haven't got,
Waste
they
Zero.
haven't
Okay,
got
thank
a invoice yet.
So he
Oh.
says, yes, yeah, he
Because
did say
I
that.
know when I was on the trash
Committee.
committee.
Yep.
Those, the Waste Zero.
Mhm.
They said they wouldn't start manufacturing the purple bag till he signed a contract. So,
Mhm.
so I
Right,
don't know,
So those are the pieces, we said that the Waste Zero and a contract we may have with them, there's the logistics of doing it, and then there's all the revenue and
So wait
everything
a
has
minute,
to.
now this money that they've said it come in actually doesn't reflect the price of the bags because we haven't gotten an invoice from them.
Okay, we
Oh.
aren't getting the invoices, the stores that are selling the bags are getting the invoices for the bags.
yeah, cause they take it off the top.
So
So who's
so
watching?
Waste Zero
Who's watching
will
the
manufacture the
store?
bags. The retailers will order the bags from Waste Zero.
Mhm.
They will pay Waste Zero for the bags.
Right,
And then Waste Zero takes their cut off the top and transfers the remainder of the money to the town account. So
what's
they-
that
oh,
tax?
bank
Anybody
account.
knows this tax?
Yeah,
So what is
it's-
the short
I
here?
think it was, I'm just going by memory,
Mhm.
Okay,
but
So we
I
want-
think it was 35 cents a bag.
so 35 cents a bag, times all the bags they sell throughout the state of Massachusetts.
No, well,
Oh.
Well,
for
but
town.
the net of
towns
it
is
was,
not, you know.
the net of it was, we were getting 40,000 a month
Right,
from the
and-
Oh, you
bags.
mean after the bags were paid
After.
for and the
We-
stores
the-
were paid for,
Right,
we were netting
we were
40
getting
grand.
40,000.
What were,
Do we know that's
we got
the
40,000 a
figure
month.
that's what
Yes,
What was our gross cost
that's the number that the state is willing to,
per month to get rid of that
So-
trash?
that has been validated.
Get it on
That-
Shaw's and get it out of
Yeah,
here.
The
that
state
was- I-
validates your income.
that was, I don't know what the
State.
number was for
Yeah,
last
but
year.
the information, I
So
got
the
it.
number that we
validate.
have in for next year
Sorry.
is
we-
780.
What our
month.
conversation's going.
No,
Okay. So
Period.
anyways, what are we
So
doing with Article
780,000?
5? We making no recommendation or?
Okay, that includes all
I
the
would
town
suggest we
pickups
make
and
a
everything?
recommendation, but if.
So I'll
like
get
the other ones-
$780 for the year to
No,
pick
no
up,
recommendations, it seemed like.
Well,
pick up how many times?
But-
Well,
But
'Cause last time I saw, we had it on the
it's
top of
it's up
some
to the
number.
individual
No, that's-
taxpayer
that's the
whether
flat
they
fee number.
want to
For
increase their
everything,
bill.
right.
We can't
Shaw
we can
drives through
recommend to
town,
everybody,
takes
yeah,
what he's
increase the
supposed to
bill.
take,
Why don't we say no?
and he
don't
charges us
increase it.
$780.
$780.
Well, then.
$80,000, and
then-
we had a
But now we have to cut.
40,000
So
come in per month,
we're,
right?
Right.
okay, hang on.
Okay.
We
All right,
got a
so-
couple,
I think
so,
the best thing is to not, because if we recommend, we're basically telling the taxpayer, yeah, go ahead and increase your taxes.
I say
Right.
don't, I
And-
say
and
no.
if we say-
And
if we say vote no,
No,
now we
then-
have to come back and cut
Yeah,
1.3
we gotta-
million.
Well, then why
out
don't
of
we
our
cut
town budget.
1.3 million? What?
Come on, I mean,
Why can't we
Do-
cut?
I know, I'm
We
I'm
don't
with you.
have
We'll
We,
figure
we're
it
gonna,
out.
we're gonna have to plan for that,
We'll
but
call Elon Musk. They'll come right in and take great care of it just like that.
But,
we-
I say we vote no and we.
Yeah, but I don't feel that way.
No, I'm saying that we should vote on whether we do or not.
and I just feel
Well,
that
then-
it should be up to the individual voter whether they want to raise their taxes or not
Mhm.
raise their taxes.
But we're
It
not
just-
telling them, we're recommending, which is different than.
Well, but even recommending, I kind of feel like this one's a neutral one, like the other one.
yeah,
But if we say don't recommend, if we say no,
If we don't recommend, then we're saying don't even send it to a vote,
that's correct.
just,
No, we can't do that.
yeah, it seems like, I don't know that we can,
I don't think so.
seems like we,
Vote and it will say 1 no, 5 yes,
well,
right?
but very similar,
Yeah.
we didn't recommend to the townspeople that they either vote for the CPA or vote against the CPA. That was their choice, whether they wanted to vote
They're looking to
for
us
these.
to get
Well-
information to make that decision. They're not asking us to vote for them. They're
Right.
saying, what do you guys think about this? How do you feel about this? What are your recommendations after you've looked at it? Because we don't have time to look at it. The CPA,
That was a whole thing.
Well,
well,
but it-
not really,
it's-
Jerry, it's all the same. They're asking us, no, they're not asking us. Our job is to give them a recommendation. I think that to say nothing
Yep.
is to cop out our job. And I think we should take a stand and I think we should vote. And those of us who want it should say yes, and those who don't say no, and we tally that vote.
No, we can do that.
I think that's the only fair way to
I
do it.
would like to add a little bit here.
Yep.
Having to do with what has happened since 2020, especially since 2022. It well surpasses our, not measly, because it's always bothered me that every 4 years my taxes are going up, 10%. Not including the assessor coming by and making it worth more. And we meet the school with a 2.5 override this year. We've got a lot of leg to stand on to say we helped you with the fact that inflation has been hurting you very badly. Now it's your time to help the damn people who have to pay for this school. And I'm not sure they're helping the people that pay for the school. Last time when I heard this, the only people that were really let go were the people that have the direct hands on kids.
Oh, you're talking about the school.
Yeah, the schools.
Well, we just decided that we can't do anything about the school because of the school committee, right? But we can do something about the government.
We can help tell the school committee and then the school committee and the schools themselves, we can only pay you so much.
They
We
did
have
that.
already given, here's your override, okay, here you go. Take your money this year, okay? Up our taxes, it's not gonna be a terrible pain, except for, like I said, 10% every 4 years, my taxes have increased, period. There's no such thing as an under 2.5%.
Yeah.
It's
And-
automatic.
Unfortunately, I believe they're probably gonna come back from another override for the schools.
Correct.
I mean,
It's kind of
again,
like,
it's like, it's never ending.
But
we
why
asked
are we
them,
talking about the same thing all the time? Why don't we have that plan? We gotta do that plan of what we're gonna cut at the school. So
Right.
we're
When
really
was the
only
last
riding half
override
the horse.
we had for school?
What?
When was the last override we had?
Wasn't it a year or two ago?
last year.
Not
well,
for the school,
it did
yeah,
not
to
pass.
build the school.
it's,
For the school.
right,
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
That's a different.
so,
Yeah, well, that was the
We've
state
been-
problem. That was, the state said, we'll give you, all this money if you build it from scratch.
Right.
Otherwise, you have to work it out yourself.
Well, they-
We're not gonna help you unless you build it from,
We actually wanted to build it bigger and they made us build it smaller.
well,
but we
no,
also,
that's
they
not-
also
that's
made
not-
us build it, period.
That's obviously the right answer if the school population is shrinking. It's kind of like
Right.
not to have built it. But if we look at just New North Middlesex assessment, last year, it was a 5.6 increase. This year, based on the number and the change, is 7.76. It's going to continue along those lines.
Mhm.
See, that's why I think that we should make a recommendation, and we say no, because you want to tax the school?
Well, see, and there's the balance. It's
Yeah,
kind of
but
like,
you've got to take
how-
everybody individually.
you have to take it, and if we say vote no for the schools, and the other two towns vote that the budget's good, now we're looking for the $1 million.
Okay,
The extra.
and then we
It's
gotta
kinda
look
like-
at it,
And so what we have to do is, if you don't vote the override, and the other two towns do, there's so many ifs, ands, or buts. It's probably even more confusing of how you're gonna get there. And again, this is just the special town meeting to vote the article, to put it on a ballot, and then
So we're
so we're
voting,
saying we'll put it on the ballot,
Yeah.
we're voting to put it on the ballot.
That's-
essentially
Right,
what we're
Yeah.
that's all we're doing
doing.
on
Oh,
Tuesday.
all right, that's what it is, and then, are we gonna whip out in April and then?
No, I think
Yeah.
we need to,
April.
or
well,
whenever it
April is when the vote is. Eight's
April
the
is when
ballot.
vote is. This is just to get it on the ballot.
This is.
Oh, yes, to get it on the ballot. I thought, okay, the voting at the polls is,
On it, but
Right,
we're
so
voting
in April.
Monday
Yeah,
night
in
whether to
April,
put it
yeah.
on the
Yeah,
ballot.
so
It has
back
It
to,
has to pass on both.
right.
Yeah, I know
you can-
that.
And which
Right,
one
right.
comes first
If
doesn't
it
matter.
doesn't
You could-
pass on town meeting and it does on the election, it doesn't pass a town meeting,
It
It
doesn't,
doesn't go to the
it
election,
doesn't
right?
go to the election.
Right.
If it passes town meeting and not on the election, then
it doesn't
it
pass.
just,
It does.
so it has to have a yes vote for both.
So both have to be yes in order for it
So what
to,
did you say, no to put it on the
And just not put it on the ballot?
On the ballot?
It doesn't go on the ballot.
But-
So how does it get?
but I think you can still put it on the ballot first.
You can put it on the ballot first,
But then you
it has
have to
be
have a
ratified
second
at the town meeting.
Right, so then you have to have a special town meeting
So-
somewhere in July or August to vote if it passed on the ballot
And
when
if
it
it
was there.
fails at the ballot box, and then goes to town meeting, school budget is passed, and we're on the hook for it, we can always go for another override for that.
So,
Right,
so we gotta go for another one right after that.
Right.
So you're damned if you do, you're damned.
Yeah, it's a mess,
It's the best.
and there's no,
So tonight,
no
all,
re-
all we're
there's no
doing
recovery.
is
Just saying you want it on the
one ballot.
that's the main
And then
piece
we vote
for
no at
here,
the ballot
but then
box.
we
But all
have to
we have
get,
to say is, we vote yes to get it on the ballot.
and,
We don't have
and
to
we're
make
working
any-
on the,
Yeah.
we're working on the budget scenarios for
Mhm.
what happens if the override doesn't pass
Right,
and we have to cut town services. Now, the budget we put together, even with this, if it does pass, is cutting $250,000 from roads for the paving. It's kind of like, it's already cutting quite a bit of stuff. We cut a total salary out of the budget, even though the position's empty right now. If it was to be filled, there's no money to pay that.
so we can't hire.
It's
Wait,
kinda
you're
like, so
talking
you
about
can't hire
the
anybody.
$250,000 that Jimmy Smith was never gonna get anyway.
Well, I would hope that somewhere along the
Still
line, we
gonna
can,
get that money.
right.
You're never gonna.
No,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's,
I mean, the reality is, he was not getting
Yeah,
it.
it should have
He
been.
came here and sat there and said, I know I'm not gonna get it, but I'm putting it on anyway.
right, and
So
so,
that's a
so
false
we,
should have been
figure.
giving them
But-
50,000
but
a
it's-
year, no
but
matter
it's-
what.
Well, we
it's
should.
not necessarily a false figure. What we have to do is present it, that's $250,000 with all the potholes that are in the roads. Would you like your roads to continue to be just patched? Or would you like some real work done? And done?
right, we've already
But-
cut out the
but-
real
but
work
I-
for
but-
this.
And we cut out the
Yeah.
real work except for the chapter
It-
90.
exactly.
Pick up
No,
Old
no,
City and
if I
bring it
really-
back to
Sorry,
the bumpy
it's kinda-
old pothole road that it was.
Okay.
5 years ago,
It was that slow
we
traffic.
voted to, borrow $5 million, and you didn't have to take it all at once.
Mhm.
You could take it in increments. So they voted. It only lost by like 20 votes.
Mhm.
So,
Right.
you know,
Right,
Yeah.
so,
but you could have had nice roads.
Yeah,
right,
but my
but,
thing is, I'm a cynic, so that $250,000 that Jimmy wants, and we might vote for Jimmy to get the $250,000 gonna be scooped up and spent somewhere else.
well, it shouldn't.
Wow, that's.
No,
I mean,
if we,
If it
if we,
gets there, it stays.
right,
If
So-
it's in his budget, he should get, but to the person who, what is this keeping it open if we don't have the person that you keep the,
well,
I mean,
it-
don't hire another person.
but that's the piece. If you don't have money, you can't hire a person, supposedly. But if the idea is that if you don't have a person in the job and you don't put money there, you can't hire
You
them.
can't hire it, you can't keep it.
You
For
can't-
that year, but
but-
you can do it next year, right?
But we know, we don't have a plan that looks past this year. We have 1 year budgets presented
Well,
so
Don,
far.
therein
Yeah.
lies the whole issue.
Right,
Yeah.
it's kind
That's
of like,
the problem.
but how are you gonna go from where you are today to putting it in? Let's show the money in there next year, but we have to guess at what the revenues are gonna be. But can we afford to put it back next year if we take it out this year? And I don't know that we can yet. It's kind of like, because, again, looking at all the numbers, if you guess that the school's gonna come in and look for another 5% next year, or we up the number of students we're sending to the tech, it's kind of like, and that increases. It's kind of like, we don't have scenarios and we don't have anything past looking at what we put together for this year. So that's why we've been trying to push. We had that
So-
conversation with them and they said to do it, and by they,
So if the override does pass.
Yep.
We get everything that's on the sheet, on the omnibus?
no,
No.
no.
Well, we
because
get
we've
everything that
already-
had numbers, we get the numbers that we had on the omnibus.
So again, if we vote the override, we're still, because we don't have enough money to fund everything that we had, it's still, there's still no $250,000 for paving.
There's
And
still those positions were
the
zeroed out.
positions
That's how
were
we
zeroed
got
The
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 budget, the
reduction,
balance to the 1.3 override was we eliminated stuff in the general budget.
right, we kept going back and cutting little pieces, so we're still gonna have cuts, and that needs to be communicated. Even with this, we're not asking for enough to cover and put paving in there. We're not, it's kind of like, there's not enough money to put those other pieces back in. And so, and again, add to it that we have another position that's being paid for by ARPA. Eventually, that's gonna come in and we're gonna have to fund
We
it.
never
with-
should have.
No, you don't have to fund it. Why do we have to
I
take it?
don't understand what they do, that is their
They should
responsibility,
never
that is the town's responsibility.
But those are, yes,
They
it's kind
never
of like,
should have.
right, it's kind of, but that's the thing, it's a number, and there's gonna be we're gonna have to cover. The police, the fire chief's salary right now is about half what a regular fire chief would get.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, are we gonna get to a point where we have to really pay a fire chief?
Well, we
Why?
had that,
Why?
what's that guy's name?
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk. I mean, why can't he be the fire?
It's just, well, we don't have a plan. We don't have a vision past this.
I thought
Yeah.
that's why we hired him, to become the fire chief.
Couldn't tell you. It's kind of like, is it in the plan anywhere?
Probably
Is
not.
it?
And is he gonna take the salary that the current fire chief has?
Right.
Or is he gonna
And-
be expecting a double?
He's making more than a
Right, and then
half-time fire
is,
chief.
So-
is he gonna expect a deputy chief also? It's kind of like, we don't know what the future looks like yet.
How do we
Yeah.
get to that point where we know what we're doing? I mean, this reactive stuff is not good.
Good, no.
stuff.
Right.
This is not right. And nobody else is making a suggestion. It's gotta come from us. I say we vote no on everything and filibuster the whole thing and make them change. Some people, you don't have the money, we recommend you don't pay it. But the board of selectmen
And,
is supposed
and
to
the,
do
and the
that.
same with the school. We want the school to give us
Yeah,
a
we don't,
guess
both of them,
beyond.
both the
Right.
school and the board of selectmen. We don't recommend it. We're not happy with what they've given us right now. as the, what do you call this? The
That's
finance
the
committee,
finance committee.
we're not happy with what we have for the numbers
Don't
for
speak
you.
for all of us.
No, I'm just saying that, but are you happy, Jerry?
Am I happy?
No, I don't mean in general. I mean,
You ever see her smile? Yeah.
no, I mean, with the
I
fact
know
that
the taxes are gonna have to go up.
we're 2.5%.
Right.
So
Well, this is
But
more
more
than
than.
2.5%.
that's exactly.
More
what
than,
I'm
because it
saying.
always
Yeah,
goes
right.
up to
Well,
an
they
half
always
percent.
goes up 2.5%. So this is asking the
To go up
taxpayers to go
more.
for more than 2.5%.
So,
And my
I think
thing
we should
is,
just take a vote, vote the way we want. You don't have to put your names beside it. After that, let them decide what they want to do. But just give them a feel of what we're thinking.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it being on the ballot.
I'm not either.
oh,
That
no,
doesn't mean but that doesn't mean I'm gonna vote for it when it's on the ballot.
I think it should go on the ballot so that people can make up their mind what they wanna do.
That's the only
That's just
thing.
taking a vote away from them.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it requires the two votes, but again, it gets into the, how many people think you just keep on presenting this until.
That's what it looks like.
The override.
I mean, that's
kinda
the
like-
perception that the voter has. Unless they come
It's
to
kinda-
this meeting
but-
or they
Right.
watch TV
Or-
or they watch these meetings.
Right.
The
It's kind of,
average person that we're taking the money from believes that. And we just keep doing it until we get
until
what
we
we
get what
want.
we
Yeah.
want, and it's kind of like, and
And
it's
then,
not
you know,
really.
there's
Yeah.
people that are like, at some point, it's like, I can't afford my taxes.
Well,
Mhm.
and absolutely, because people think that's gonna happen too.
Sorry, I'm just making a note because I think
Well, I'm afraid my bank automatically takes what they say.
But I'm not opposed to putting it on the ballot.
So should we vote on the article then to say if we're,
Put it on the ballot?
Put it on the
We can say,
ballot.
Put it on the ballot?
that's what the article is to
that's
put it on
what,
the ballot.
that's what that main piece of the article is, and we don't have the motion, so we don't know if they're gonna drop the number
Or do we
down.
just not,
That's
or
not
we
what-
just leave it
You see,
alone?
the town will
And
vote
not,
to
I
raise
think
the
it should be on
one
the
way
ballot,
amount.
yes.
but do we vote? Or we just
Vote to
gonna,
put it on the ballot only.
Yeah,
Not
that's all
for
we're
or against
recommending
it.
is
See the
whether
town
or do we
put it on the
even
ballot.
vote on it and just leave it alone as a neutral?
I think
Is that what the
that-
answer?
that-
Maybe that shouldn't be
Yeah,
it.
is that
the
what-
town might, I've seen it happen when people stand up and point to the paper and they say, the committee said, or the committee didn't say.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
and
I
go
don't-
either way on that.
What?
Okay,
But we're just getting, putting it on the
ballot,
ballot.
I mean, it's
Right.
done.
Then decide what they
I'll
want.
vote yes to put it on the ballot.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's the
but
best place
why
for it
do we
to
have
be.
to have the
Right.
numbers in there? I think that's
Right.
what Mary Jane's problem is.
What upsets me the most about
Well, I think
everybody
it's-
around this town that's part of this
Why
town as a
can't we
voting
just
member,
reword that and say,
I come
just,
from southern
put it on the
Central County,
ballot.
Pennsylvania.
If you
Okay.
vote it down, you will not
You
go
vote
on
for selectmen to, well, they call it a different name down there, now I've forgotten what it was. Actually, it used to be I couldn't remember selectmen, I remembered
Right.
that name, now it's the other way around. But nonetheless, there were three people that run the town, period, and a town manager, okay?
Yeah.
There's no vote, no nothing.
right,
You either vote for that person to be that, overlord or not. And that overlord can do what he wants. And when my father was one of those overlords,
Do we
he
have
got what he
something
wanted.
on- Can we just pay this is
That's the way most, that's the way.
That's the way
most states
tax
are.
rates too.
But
So
that's the way
these
most
people
states
out
are.
here have the, what I consider one of the
And
most
then
sacred,
in April, when they really
men
vote on it, this is
honored
the numbers.
to be able to come to this town hall
Number to begin
and have a
with.
say in whether you bore me to death or not,
We're just voting
um,
whether to put it on the
to
ballot.
say in what happens.
Right.
Shouldn't be
If you
asking for
worry
number
about
to
your
begin
vote
with.
Right.
in the general election not really
Why don't we-
meaning anything,
Take the
fine.
number right.
But you come into town meeting, it does mean
So we
something.
would recommend,
Here you have a
Just put
say.
it on the ballot,
Ballot, that's all.
period.
That's all this is doing.
Right, that's all this does.
That's all this article does
I
is
think
put
what-
it on the ballot.
But I think what Mary Jane is opposed to is because
My
it
wife
does
was
give a
born
figure.
and raised in Massachusetts.
we don't know what that figure
She did a lot of
truly is
town
yet.
meeting. I
Right.
got so many
It's
other
broken
things
out.
she
Oh,
could do.
I think it should be broken out,
Right.
I really do.
It's kind of,
I think
so-
it should be broken.
Well, the,
Should be two,
Okay.
two, whatever they are, articles.
I think it should be.
So it's pretty damn
Well,
important.
yeah, it should be three, actually, but.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
boring.
Three, I mean, yeah. it should be
All right, what
both
is this?
and-
what was the third
Federal
one?
government trash and.
Oh, the trash, God. that's a whole
Well,
other-
so
Don't touch my trash.
One of the things I'll point out is
Yeah.
the way the trash is budgeted in the omnibus budget right now.
Yeah.
That led to this number was the 780,000 flat rate contract,
Okay, what about the tonnage?
okay? The tonnage,
Doesn't matter
in this
on
figure, the tonnage doesn't matter.
Well, that's when it should matter.
Well,
No.
right, but I'm just saying, the figure that we have in the budget is the contract where the tonnage does not matter.
The- the
Oh,
Okay,
selectmen
because that's
actually-
just a
They gave
flat.
us two contract options. One was a flat rate, 780,000.
Uh-huh,
The other was 400,000 or something like that, plus the tonnage fee. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
The number we have in the budget is for the flat rate, 780,000.
okay, that's
Okay.
fine for the budget, but it's not been through the ringer yet. But what, okay, you do have the figure, you said it's $40,000 a month we get on trash bags.
Right, which is 480 for the year.
Right,
With the
okay, I'm
expect.
just going, I'm down here to the 65,000
Right, and then,
per month cost at your 780 flat.
right.
Um, And
300,000,
so we're 250,000.
no, 300,000.
It's 300,000.
It's 300,000. That's where the 300,000, that was one of the reasons we said leave the override at 1.3. Because by leaving the override at 1.3, it essentially covers the 300,000 for the trash that
for the
the
extra.
bags don't cover.
Right, well, I wanted the bag to raise the price. I'm not paying my just due because I give it compacted. Understand? So I've got to,
Yeah,
this,
you
the
would
month
rather
of,
see the
the
bag
month
go
of, I would rather pay more for the
for
bags
the bags.
so that you get in your truck to the dump the least amount of trash I can send.
Yeah,
So therefore, I don't have to send it once a week when he comes by. I can put my recycling out, which is at minimum half a big trash bag can full of a rather large trash can full of
Yeah.
of recyclables and bag and grocery bags of papers get, they all get dumped in that bucket. And I mean, that's for me, okay?
yeah.
But I don't see why it would take a master's degree to figure out in your own home how to start compacting your stuff down, getting the
Oh, yeah, no, I
recycling
know.
in, and,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, that's what we have, that's what's in
That's what's in
this budget.
in the budget. That we're trying to hit, and between the money, the revenue generated by the bags and.
So even if we pass this budget, we still have to decide on the trash contract.
We do, it's kind of like there's a
And-
meeting being scheduled right now. with,
Right.
Board of Health and
yeah,
select.
that
And
would
again,
bring it pretty close to fixing it. If we're paying $3.50 a bag now, and I say pay $5 a bag, that kind of covers that other 25,000 to make up the 65,000 out of the 40 you're already getting. Because that,
Well,
because that's free cash, that extra $1.50. Because you've already paid the other people, the grocery store and the people
right,
that make the
right,
bags.
right.
By the time you get to that $3.50 mark, and therefore $1.50 more, not gonna hurt, not gonna send me, I've got, that problem's coming with fuel in the near future,
Right.
groceries in the very
Well,
near future. So the last thing I'm gonna be concerned about is $1.50 extra per month or per week, depending on how much trash I wanna have, because eventually I'll get the barn cleaned out, and I will have plenty of bags to go.
we're not gonna solve the.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on recommending Article 6 then still, or I mean, Article 5? We still have to vote on that, right?
Can we use the wording to get this on, can we use the wording and
We can,
to get this on the ballot?
Right.
Can we
My
fix
yes vote is just to get it on the ballot,
so
not for it.
you want
Not
to see
for or
the
against,
motion.
to get it on the ballot.
Get it on the
There,
ballot.
he
Warrant.
says right there.
Words and prices are only a guideline. The actual motions
See, I don't-
that are written and presented on the floor may not reflect this number. I mean,
So we don't have to,
so I will reach out and see if we can get the motions that will be read on the floor to see what the numbers being read on the floor is gonna
You
be
mean for Monday or for April?
for Monday.
It's
For
not gonna
April.
be, it's not gonna be
Is that
this
gonna be this?
1.334?
Is that
Doesn't
gonna be
matter.
this?
right
That's what
now.
I'm saying.
We're just
This-
voting to get whatever
this-
number
this-
that is on the
This,
ballot,
this is a
period.
warrant.
Whether
and
it's
posted
1 and
2
1/3
weeks
million
before you get to
or
the
5
meeting.
million, it doesn't matter to me,
What's
it's whether or not
what's
we're gonna
presented
vote to
and
put it on the
read
ballot or
before
not.
It's related to this, but generally it's not higher, but generally if it's a number, it could be lower than what you see in the warrant article.
Still
So,
confused.
Well,
Yeah.
The
But-
motion can be different than the article.
yeah,
The motion can
Can
be
be
different
different.
than the,
Yeah.
then why are we even bothering?
because
Because
this is what you know at this particular
I
time.
think it's the best guesstimate.
Yeah,
it's a best
Because
guesstimate
it
at
has to
the,
be posted 14 days before.
right.
but I still like to know how much my taxes are going up. Is it, if it's
They-
40
We'll,
bucks?
we'll get that after the. it's
So
gonna-
I
I-
think,
It's taking the total tax base, dividing it by the amount we need and telling you how much per thousand we need. It's just a simple
Okay.
math
Okay,
kind of formula.
all right, so what do we, are we
We'll
gonna
get there.
vote on this, or we?
Oh,
we
It sounds
just-
like we want to vote on it to say that we're recommending. So the motion would be for the finance committee to vote to recommend that the article pass on the floor so that it makes it to the ballot and the whole town can vote on it on the annual town election.
Yeah,
Yes, can you write that?
make it to the ballot.
No, sorry, it's kind of like hit the playback button.
That was really good. I like what you just said, I just did right fast.
So in other words,
enough.
the finance committee is voting to recommend that this article be placed on the ballot.
Yeah.
So. Why is that so hard? It's,
I don't know.
so it's gonna go on the ballot at the, whatever the number is. So then an amendment can be made on the floor at the time of the meeting,
Right.
either Monday, but not in April, because April's too late, right?
April is the ballot.
Okay,
That
so
has
it's
to
gotta
be,
done
it's,
prior.
it's gotta be done prior and the ballot has to be sent out to print.
So
So,
you can make an amendment that the amounts be split out.
yes, we can ask for that.
Well, no,
It's part of,
some can,
part of the
some-
discussion.
two,
well-
you wanna split the two numbers, is that what you're saying? So you
Yeah,
vote on
that-
one and then,
Right. It kind of, you can't do.
Oh, you can't do that.
No, it's kind of,
cause I think that would be meaningless.
You think you
you
can?
think you
Honestly.
can?
I think it's been done before. You mean to make the motion on the floor, or you mean?
Make
to
a-
You know what?
actually have two override
think-
questions?
To make it two override questions, but I think you can make that on the motion on the floor to divide out if there are going to be actual two numbers that make this up.
Yeah,
But then you have two override questions on,
No, either vote yes or
I would have to
no.
look back, but I'm pretty sure we have in the past had two override questions.
One to the school,
Well,
one for
we-
the other
we-
people?
we
or
we
the
had
other-
two separate ones last year, one for the tech, one for
Right,
um
right, so.
one for North
yeah.
Middlesex.
But-
But I think they
Well,
might
I
have
don't,
been two different.
I guess I
warrant
don't see how that does any good, cause if I pass the 300 and don't pass the million,
Mhm.
but Pepperell and Ashby pass theirs,
We still
we still have
haven't
to
made,
pay the million and cut
Right,
a million.
yeah.
So it doesn't really achieve.
No,
anything.
but for clarity and transparency, it's,
Okay,
this number is really making up
two pieces.
two
Two
pieces.
pieces of the puzzle, or the.
Right.
Well, but we
Two
can tell, we
pieces of
can
the
say
puzzle.
that.
We can say it
that
and
at
put
the
it,
meeting.
and that's what I tried to do in the
Right there,
notes,
in the
In
notes,
the
he
notes, yeah.
separated it in the notes.
Yeah. that, they said the current North Middlesex assessment is this, which is less than the amount in the warrant. If the full amount is approved, there will be an amount approximately 323,000 and change available for use for the town operating budget. So
Yeah.
tried to cover it there. Wasn't specifically saying that it was trash because it's going into the general budget.
Right.
And
So when do we get to vote on the trash? Do we get to vote on the trash?
yes, we will, when there's a decision on what we're gonna do for trash, we will be able to vote on the trash.
As a town
Now,
or the select
well,
board?
I was gonna say is,
Very good.
but that becomes the issue. Well, you'll have both. On the finance committee, we're gonna look at it and we're either gonna recommend or not recommend budget lines in the omnibus budget going to town meeting. Then the whole of the town at town meeting has the opportunity to vote yea or nay on every line that's in the budget. Unless we decide that trash is not gonna be in the budget, I suppose you can still make a motion to add a trash line
Yeah.
into the budget at town meeting, and change it on the floor. That's a possibility. I mean, there is always the opportunity to make a motion on the
Okay.
floor.
But then you won't have a balanced budget.
Then you won't have a balanced budget unless there's, and that's the piece. If you
You
say,
let us know.
I wanna do this with the budget and increase a line, you also have to have corresponding decreases on the floor. But it's gotta fund the schools and it's gotta be balanced based
Mhm.
on.
Okay, so did you write the motion?
I
Right
did not, I guess maybe I'm close.
A motion up there, it looks great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the finance committee recommended this article be
Right,
placed on the ballot for a vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah, that's fine.
then that's the motion I'd be looking
Yeah,
for.
I move that the finance committee recommends that this article be placed on the ballot for a vote.
And I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second.
Yes. Those two.
Any further discussion? Okay, then we'll do a roll call vote, and in the affirmative, we are recommending that this be placed on the ballot for a vote by the whole town.
David Walker, yes.
Carol Hoff says yes.
Carol Dick is yes, Mary Jane Churchman, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
John Hayes, yes, unanimous.
Now, do we have a vote for beer time?
Okay,
Oh, we
We still
got
got
one more
Article
article.
one more article.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Oh, the Article 6 though, does that matter to us since it's
Oh,
another?
Well,
selling
yes.
property.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
selling a property. The last meeting had Articles 3 through 11 that we voted on and
Oh, yeah.
recommend they sell. However,
Yeah.
this one's a little different. If you look at the next page in the packet, you'll see that in September of 2023, we had actually recommended that this property be sold. There's a typo in that. So Article 4 on that extra sheet,
I can get an extra sheet,
Yeah.
too, like that one here,
It's attached.
not to mine.
No,
Didn't make
you
it.
go to the next page. It looks different.
that looks like you got hers.
No, this.
Okay, there should be one more packet with a back page on it. And it starts on the top of the page is Article 3. We're looking at Article 4.
No, I got this hot off the press, thanks to
Ah,
our great
Carolyn.
town clerk.
Okay, so if we look at that last sheet, it's the identical property, but the difference is in the 2023, it said block 10 lot 0, so map 3, block 10 lot 0. If we look at Article 6, this time, it's map 3, block 18. Somebody probably saw a number, thought it looked like a 0, not an 8, and so you can't sell a property
If it's not
if
correct.
it's not correct.
Okay, so that article basically had to get,
We can't take action, they can't sell the property
because
because
it wasn't properly.
it wasn't properly said, so this is correcting that error.
That's not a typo, that's like a real.
What, 8 and 0?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
looking at Kings Road. You're saying, that's what you mean.
Article 4 on that page. Yep. Article 4 on that page is the same property, this, and just for those that weren't here, this is the old water department building, the brown building out in West Townsend that we're selling,
Okay.
because they've moved out of there and into Townsend Harbor.
Do we have anybody that we think is gonna buy that?
It's potential, it's got 2 garage doors, maybe somebody will put in a repair shop, maybe, there's a nice office area and 2 garages.
Not to pay the taxes, we're gonna charge.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
But, okay, no, that, regardless though,
So
so
it
do we
has,
need to discuss this much?
I don't think so, I just wanted to say, show that we had voted for it in
Right,
2023
right.
and recommended, we
Mhm.
approve it.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that the finance committee recommend approval of Article 6.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None being heard, roll call vote.
David Walker, yes.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Carol Mazik, yes, Meredith Jeffrey, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
Don Hayes, yes.
Now,
Now we've covered everything. The next meeting that I'm thinking of is March 10th, the special town meeting.
At 7 o'clock.
But, that's 7 o'clock. And we should, yeah, it's kind of like, once we get past that, we'll work with the select board and see when we're gonna maybe have joint meetings, because we still need to look at the alternates for the budget, what happens if this doesn't work, so that's next Monday, so after that. Usually, we'll stick it, whether it's a Tuesday or a Thursday at 6 o'clock, which had been our time with them.
Yeah.
February.
I should not have any conflicts from going forward from here until next fall.
Okay,
I can
Next
make
fall,
no
I'll have
guarantees.
conflicts on Tuesday night.
okay,
Some Tuesday nights, not all of them.
some Tuesday.
I can make no guarantees.
No, but we'll
Will you be
try
on
to,
Monday night?
try to keep it at 6.
A couple of weeks
Tuesday
ago,
No, it's
Oh,
Monday night.
Monday night.
Monday night is the 10th.
Monday night is.
a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago, I had a warning I was able to tell you, and then the next day was on the Thursday.
Yeah, no,
I
no, no,
was-
that happened.
Yeah, I guess I
So
can.
I
It
appreciate
was
it.
well after 7 before I realized what time it was.
Yeah.
Just
I
because
suppose
of what
I
I was
can.
stuck in.
Do I have to?
We'd like you to.
Well, not well after, it's about 3.
We need
before
the sergeant at arms.
Yeah.
So if everybody's good with that, I will contact you once we have the schedule set with the select board, and we'll continue on with omnibus.
I have a question about the meeting with the select board. I know it's convenient, but I think it's kind of like working with the enemy. Because we have a report, one of our purposes as a finance committee is keep an eye on the people spending our money.
Mhm, yeah.
And they are the ones who are spending our money. And we've had a number of contracts over the years that spent our money way outside the
Mhm.
town's ability to really basically
And again, we're
get
only
the wrong
advisory,
end of the manure fork.
we're only advisory, and sometimes we have to live.
Yeah, but at least we can advise and advise the townsfolk what we
Right,
think about it.
If we're in the meetings with them, then hopefully we can
Okay.
have a conversation with
Possible.
them and hit it. So, at this point, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay. Motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Roll call. Oh,
David Walker, yes.
Carol Hofstas, yes.
Carol Mazik, yes, Meredith Jeffrey, yes.
Sam Grant, yes.
yes,
Hallelujah.
we are unanimous. We stand adjourned.